If you've ever been excited about a mega IPO debut, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks, and welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook, and it's going to be a big one here today. The SpaceX IPO is here. We are counting down. Probably won't see it until the afternoon, but pro tip out there, X is celebrating the SpaceX debut by changing the like animation when you like a tweet to show you a little rocket ship. Be sure to try it out. I made a tweet about it. You can go ahead and like that one if you want. But we're going to get down to brass tacks here. We're going to have a great Friday. Around here, Friday is fun day anyway, and SpaceX is certainly going to jazz that up. We got Mark Putrino today. We got Anne-Marie today. We're going to have Sandy afterwards, and we're going to be preparing for the SpaceX IPO. I do have some news to run down here for you, but it's a bit light given some of the action that's happening here today. Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook, the SpaceX IPO edition for Friday, June 12th, begins right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks. I hope that you all had a wonderful Thursday evening. If you were anywhere near the Midwest, you had some storms to deal with yesterday. It was something else here, but we made it back and the big day is upon us. Our weekend is not far. Mice down, drinks up time, also not far, but a gigantic event before that. Great to see a whole bunch of returning faces. I know y'all are excited. Solitary Soldier is first here today. Good morning to you and everyone else. Daniel, good morning to you as well. Bavesh, good morning. Free Diddy tomorrow, good morning. Ed, good morning. No deal market manipulation at its finest. Ed, very, very skeptical of the whole thing. Try and have some fun here today, Ed. Derek, Morning. To buy SpaceX immediately or wait? Derek, that is the question that millions of traders and investors are trying to answer here today. I would love to get your opinion. I would love to get the opinion of the group. I will start. I'm going to wait for the IPO. I'm going to not buy right off the open. I expect it to pop a little bit, but I want to see if it comes back in and maybe form some type of intraday bottom, and we'll try that. So that's going to be my plan. I'm going to be patient and wait. Generally, with whatever I trade, the more patient I am, the better I do. So I'm going to adopt that philosophy here. But I also have a tweet that I would like to show you today that might make you think about that. Nonetheless, I want to hear from the group. How are you playing it here today? What are you doing here today with this? Seahorse Trading, good morning from Naperville. Seahorse Trading, how was the weather in Naperville? We had we had tornado warnings for hours last night, and they mentioned Schaumburg, Naperville, and some of those western suburbs. How did you survive the storms? Peter, good morning. Welcome back. Crispy Biscuit, good morning. Welcome back. Zach McCracken, good morning. Welcome back. Seeing the hype at SM today, I can't help but think retail traders are walking into the wolf's nest while singing happy songs. Zach, stay tuned for my tweet. Stay tuned for street tweets. Robert, good morning. Francis, good morning. EKS, good morning. EKS saying SpaceX caps retail IPO allocation. Shadow markets signal a 35% debut surge. I saw stats this morning that it was 5x oversubscribed. I've seen tweets pouring in all over the place about people getting allocated one share of SpaceX, which we kind of anticipated. I know that they said that they were going to make the allotment bigger for retail, but let's face it, the same restrictions are still on there. If you're not a huge customer, you probably didn't get a lot, and that's okay. That's okay. But we'll see how it trades here today. EKS, I'd love to know how you're approaching this, if you're going to trade it at all today. Whisk, good morning. It's great to see you as always. Kelly, likewise, good morning. Welcome back. Tawana, good morning. Welcome. The producer is ready for the rocket ships. Let's go, producer. We're going to have some fun today. Janie, good morning. It's good to see you. Welcome back. 08 Roush, stage 3. Let's go. Good morning. Welcome back. Dirkus, good morning. Welcome back. Laura in Florida, good morning. Welcome back. DFNS, that's a penny stock, right, Laura? That is ripping here today. Penny stock nonetheless. Kenneth, good morning. Welcome back. Liam, good morning. Welcome back. Brandy, good morning. Got my 2 shares of SpaceX. LOL. So what I will say here is that this is par for the course. Like the fact that you got 2, I follow a couple of pretty big traders or traders that I've been following for a long time. I don't know necessarily how big their account is, but a lot of them only got 1. You got 2. So that's pretty good. Brandy, I'd love to hear how you're approaching this. The 2 shares that you got at IPO price, is that long-term? Are you looking to maybe trade in the short-term too? Very curious about how you're playing that. But hey, at least you got something. And at least you laughed about it. That's good stuff. Matthew, good morning. Welcome back. McKendu Find. There we go. Whopping 6 shares. Wow. 6 share allotment. That's actually bigger than some of the other folks that I've seen out there posting that. But hey, at least you got some. Same deal with Brandy. At least you got something. Just passing through. Good morning. Unpopular Truth. Good morning. Bernhard. Good morning. Jeff. Good morning. Crankbait. Good morning. Potg. Good morning. I'm excited about the IPO. You too. Absolutely, I am. I think it's going to make today fun, even if SpaceX doesn't trade the way most people think. I think there's going to be other stuff out there that's going to be fun today. The mood from everybody just seems better. Maybe that's a bad read, but that's kind of what I'm seeing here today. Graf, good morning. Izzy, good morning. Cam, good morning. Gen Z Pool Guy, good morning. Marionette, it's great to see you. Welcome back. Matthew says, I got 1 share of SpaceX out of the 50 that I requested. Again, this seems to be par for the course. Y'all seem to have the exact, or maybe not the exact, but a very, very similar experience. Linda, good morning. Welcome back. Wiz, good morning. Tyler, good morning. Just another trading day for me, looking for runners. Wiz, all business, man. All business. You can't shake this guy. Never been shook. Let's go. Suleiman saying, bro, just tell me if I should buy, yes or no. You might be in the wrong place. I'll just say that. Good morning. We're happy to have you. but I think you might be in the wrong place. Yassine, good morning, welcome back. This Moj, good morning, welcome back. Who am I missing here? Gene, good morning, welcome back. Big Bees, I got 0 out of 0, not interested. Let's go. I see my K. Good morning. Happy Friday. Drew, good morning. Big Gapper, good morning. Brian, good morning. Welcome back. Jay, good morning. Welcome back. Barb, good morning. Daniel, good morning. Let's go. We got everybody in here. SpaceX will test 200s easy today. Boom. There we go. There's one of our first calls. Let's see if we end up getting that today. Lav says, I canceled my shares. I have little regret. Dude, don't even live life with regret. It's not worth it. You're going to have more opportunity here today. Welcome back and good morning. Brandy says, fill the crap out of them if it moons. Brandy, that's awesome. You're going to be looking to buy more if it looks like it's trading with momentum here today. I can't argue with that. Linda says that she got a share. Hey, look, the experience is very, very similar still. Reaching financial freedom, good morning. Vlad's, good morning. Who am I missing? Mitch, good morning. I got 10 out of the 15 requested from Fidelity. That's Ozolero. Awesome. That's actually, on a percentage basis, that's actually the best that I've seen here. 10 of 15, I mean, that's 66% of what you requested. As far as I'm aware so far, that's the biggest allotment on a percentage basis. And then Barb, good morning. All right, folks, let's not waste any more time. Let's go ahead and get started with our stock market today. All right, futures are cooperating with the SpaceX debut here today. Everything's in the green. S&P futures trading higher by 0.55%, Dow futures up by 0.65%, and the Nasdaq holding higher by 0.5%, 0.5%. So green across the board. We'll see if that continues, and we'll see if that actually gives SpaceX a little bit of a a little bit of a lift or helps with the pop, if you will. Now, let's take a look at some cues from last session here and get you started get you ready here for the trading day. Industrials, materials, and information technology stocks recorded the biggest gains on Thursday, while consumer staples and energy stocks bucked the overall market trend, closing the session lower. U.S. stock futures rose on Friday as the Nasdaq 100, S&P 500, and Dow Jones indices advanced following Thursday's higher close. Investors are eyeing SpaceX debut under the ticker SPCX at $135 per share, with options trading set to begin on Monday. The first few minutes are expected to be chaotic as the market makers establish price discovery, and that is also going to determine when it actually is available for trade. We don't know, probably after lunch, New York time. Amid pushback against President Trump's assertions regarding an approved peace agreement, Iranian Parliament Speaker Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf cautioned that wrong strategies and impulsive decisions could ignite a more expansive crisis. He warned that such actions risk devastating energy infrastructure, roiling global markets, and creating a, quote, endless quagmire, end quote, that would last for years. Meanwhile, the 10-year Treasury bond yielded 4.44%, and the 2-year bond was at 4.05%. The CME Group's Fed Watch Tool projections show that the markets are pricing in a 96.4% likelihood that the Federal Reserve leaves the current interest rates unchanged during the June meeting. Now, we've got several stocks in focus here for you today that aren't SpaceX, by the way. First one here is going to be Adobe. This was our big report from yesterday. Adobe declined 4.91% despite posting upbeat financial results for the second quarter and raising its full-year guidance for the full year. It also announced that CFO and Executive Vice President Dan Durn will depart the company on June 15th. You know where he's going? Marvell. Steve Day, Senior VP of Corporate Finance and CFO of Adobe's Customer Experience Orchestration Business Unit, will serve as the interim CFO. The next stock on our list is going to be Restoration Hardware, and the ticker is RH. It was 0.47% higher after reporting better than expected first quarter financial results and raising its full year 2026 sales guidance. The next stock on our list is going to be Lennar, the home builder, ticker LEN. It was 2.74% lower after posting mixed second quarter results after Thursday's closing bell. The next stock on our list is going to be Friedman Industries. The ticker is FRD. and it jumped 10.08% after posting a sharp increase in earnings per share in the fourth quarter results. It reported fourth quarter net earnings of $9.2 million or 130 diluted EPS on sales of $191.8 million. That's up from $5.3 million or 76 cents EPS on $129.2 million a year prior. The last stock on our list is going to be CoreWeave, ticker CRWV. It was up 3.61% as Nasdaq announced that it would be included in the Nasdaq 100 index effective July 22nd. Okay, let's take a look at the SPY chart. Zach here saying, this is regarding the time here. Zach saying, we know it should start trading times of SpaceX is 10 o'clock. You're saying Bloomberg had breaking news and said 10 o'clock. Okay. Hey, I mean, if we get that, gosh, we're still going to be on the show if we get that. I'm going to stay skeptical on that. I've seen a couple of these big IPOs that generally take a little bit to actually get rolling, but that's good news. That's absolutely good news. Let's see if we're able to get that here. That'd be great. All right, let's take a look at the SPY chart. We're just below the 20-day moving average. So what we have talked about on this rollover is where do we find support? We were moving down towards the 50-day moving average, but we didn't actually print it. And we've got this little bit of a bounce now. Hate to do it. Hate to put on the tinfoil hat, but I was not terribly surprised to hear that we had some type of headline about a deal or peace in the Middle East right before that SpaceX IPO. I don't believe in coincidences, and that timing was just a little too good. So one of the things that I'm going to be looking at for here today is how do we close, right? Do they keep this thing elevated for SpaceX to come out? Does everyone, get excited and then all of a sudden the market rolls over? We'll see. I don't think it's just a given that we're going to close here in the green. We'll see. Now, as far as the daily chart goes here, can we actually get a close over 744.51? That would recapture the 20-day, put us in positive trend, and maybe make a run for those all-time highs. Otherwise, if we can't get above that, I think we probably roll over and actually print this 50-day moving average. In fact, I wouldn't be shocked if we traded beneath it, maybe came in towards the 100 or the round 700 number, and then turned around and recaptured it. So I would have much preferred that we actually printed and tested the 50-day rather than getting close to it like we did and then bounce back up. We'll see. Maybe it's just because of SpaceX. Maybe this has just kind of changed the sentiment around the place there. But this is what I got here with the SPY chart. This will probably be an afterthought given what we're going to deal with here today with SpaceX. Now, let's take a look at some insights from analysts here. Douglas Beath, global equity strategist at Wells Fargo, maintains a, quote, constructive outlook for equities, end quote. This positive view is backed by robust corporate momentum with the S&P 500 index first quarter earnings tracking growth of nearly 25%, which is well above initial consensus forecasts. While technology remains the primary driver, Beath highlights that, quote, the rally is broadened, end quote, signaling that market moves are firmly supported by improved corporate fundamentals rather than mere sentiment. Despite this strength, Beath advises advisors to prepare for turbulence, reiterating that, quote, volatility is likely to remain a feature of the market action, end quote. He projects that future market fluctuations will be driven by Federal Reserve policy uncertainty, AI capital spending, and geopolitical risks such as the U.S.-Iran conflict. Looking forward, Wells Fargo maintains a year-end S&P 500 target of 7,400 to 7,600. Economically, while confidence is building that, quote, AI can support future economic growth, end quote, Beath views pullbacks not as a reason to panic, but rather as buying opportunities. He recommends rebalancing into attractive ancillary sectors like financials, industrials, and utilities. So still constructive outlooks, still a rather bullish outlook here on equities, and we'll see what we end up getting here. Now, let's take a look at Adobe. And in fact, what we'll do here is we will take a look at the chart first. Now, Adobe might actually give us a trade here out of the open. We'll see. They're down 8.28%. Adobe shares are trading lower after Evercore ISI downgraded its rating on the stock from outperform to inline and lowered the price target from $325 to $225. That's still $25 higher than where we currently are. Also, Stifel downgraded its rating on the stock from buy to hold and lowered its price target from $350 to $200, which is exactly where we are. Now, if we take a look inside, this is what's going on with Adobe. So we had the earnings. It traded down. It didn't really bounce at all. And actually, it looks like it's going lower. So I had asked Happy Hour yesterday how they're looking at Adobe. Big B's. I know that you trade a lot of these, especially post-earnings, using options, especially on something like this that's got a big liquid options chain. And the note that I had from yesterday is you gave me some key levels, kind enough to give me some key levels. Adobe key level for the upside, 237.78. Yeah, that's not happening. And Adobe's downside key level, 199.86. Look where we are. So what I would like to ask the group here, do you think Adobe maybe breaks this 200 round number and ends up rolling lower? And would that be a successful short-term day trade for you here? Earnings, or the reaction here to earnings, less than stellar, to be quite honest with you. Adobe reported second quarter revenue of $6.62 billion, beating analyst estimates of $6.46 billion, according to Benzinga Pro. The software company reported adjusted earnings of $5.96 per share, which beat the estimate of $5.82 per share. Total revenue was up 13% year over year as total customer group subscription revenue increased 14% year over year to $6.39 billion. Adobe reported $27.1 billion in total annualized recurring revenue and said AI first ARR tripled on a year over year basis, exceeding $500 million. Adobe had $22.27 billion of remaining performance obligations at quarter end. The company exited the period with $4.92 billion in cash and cash equivalents. Quote, Adobe delivered record revenue of $6.62 billion in Q2, reflecting strong AI-driven demand across our customer groups, and we are raising our full-year fiscal 2026 revenue and non-GAAP EPS targets on that strength of that performance, end quote. That came from Shantanu Narayan, chair and CEO of Adobe. Adobe expects third quarter revenue of $6.67 billion to $6.72 billion. That's versus an estimate of $6.51 billion. The company anticipates third quarter adjusted earnings of $6.05 to $6.10 per share, and that was versus an estimate of $5.77 per share. Adobe raised its full-year revenue guidance from a range of $25.9 billion to $26.1 billion to a new range of $26.5 to $26.6 billion. That was versus an estimate of $26.04 billion. The company also raised its full-year adjusted earnings guidance from a range of $23.30 to $23.50 per share to an updated range of $24.35 to $24.45 per share versus an estimate of $23.52 per share. Adobe announced that CFO and Executive Vice President Dan Durn will depart the company on June 15th to pursue a new opportunity, which is working for Marvell. Steve Day, Senior Vice President of Corporate Finance and CFO of Adobe's Customer Experience Orchestration Business Unit, will serve as the interim CFO. Now, some more here on Adobe. Again, this is going to be the biggest earnings report from yesterday. But I think also that there might be another trade here today. Adobe is deferring planned Creative Cloud price increases to aggressively chase a friction-free freemium AI funnel. That's a mouthful. A strategic pivot that sacrifices immediate annualized recurring revenue growth and triggered over 5% overnight stock drop. During Thursday's second quarter earnings call, management revealed that while the second quarter revenue grew 11% year over year to $6.62 billion, the aggressive push to acquire next generation users will depress second half subscription growth. The intentional shift to expand free access across flagship platforms like Firefly, Express, and Acrobat AI assistants directly answers Wall Street's burning question regarding the financial trade-off. Quote, the strategic shift to acquire more freemium customers through Adobe and Firefly lowers our second half ARR growth expectations from individual subscribers, end quote. And again, that was from Shantanu Narayan, CEO. Wolf Research analyst Alex Zirkin asked point blank about a projected $500 million organic ARR headwind. Narayan clarified the math. He noted that, quote, maybe half of the impact of ARR is as a result of what we are doing around deferring that creative price line optimizations, end quote, while the remaining half stems from going full steam on the freemium model. Management frames this as a short-term sacrifice necessary to remove friction and build long-term customer lifetime value. However, independent market analysts remain skeptical of the strategy. Chief market strategist at Futurum Equities, Shay Ballur, pointed out that aggressive freemium transition introduces intense structural pressure, turning Adobe into a, quote, show me story. Generative AI fundamentally shifts how content is made, but it also increases competition and, quote, lowers the margins because AI compute is expensive, end quote. That was a warning from Ballur. Despite the immediate ARR headwinds of the sudden departure of CFO Dan Durn, Adobe raised its full-year fiscal 2026 revenue target to a range of $26.5 billion to $26.6 billion. Management strongly defends the pivot, asserting that capital top-of-funnel traffic, which grew 40% on Adobe.com, is the right move to secure Adobe's dominance. So, with Adobe here, I don't think this thing's going to zero, but I do think we might have a short-term down trade here today. And then as far as a long-term swing trade on this name, I actually like this closer to 150 to 155. Now, I don't think we're in any danger of getting down there today. That would be massive, but that's definitely going to be a level that I'm going to keep an eye on for Adobe over the next several months here. Okay, what are we at here time-wise? We're good. We got Putrino in 6 minutes. Right now, I got a story here on Taiwan Semiconductor. The hottest chips remain scarce. We already know that, but it seems like price hikes are coming here pretty soon, too. Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing, ticker TSM, may raise prices for its advanced 3-nanometer foundry services by as much as 15% in the second half of 2026 as demand just continues to exceed supply. Taiwan Semiconductor expanded its monthly 3-nanometer production capacity to 160 to 175,000 wafers in the second quarter. But despite this increase, strong demand continues to outstrip supply, leaving order backlogs in place. And this was reported by TechNode today. And they cited supply chain sources. The report said AI-driven demand is growing faster than expected, keeping advanced node capacity tight despite ongoing expansion efforts at Taiwan Semiconductor's Fab 18 complex in Taiwan's South Taiwan Science Park. The shortage of leading-edge manufacturing capacity remains one of the semiconductor industry's most significant supply chain bottlenecks. Taiwan Semiconductor stock shares edged higher in the pre-market trading Friday as investors continue to favor large-cap technology stocks amid a constructive, broader market backdrop. Remember, Nasdaq futures were up about 0.5%, and the S&P futures were up about 0.5%. They're right about in the same area now. Investors have continued to buy pullbacks, helping the stock maintain its position above its key technical levels. The stock remains in a strong long-term uptrend, gaining 95.5% over the past 12 months. Shares trade roughly 1.2% above the 20-day simple moving average of 418.30 and 28.3% above the 200-day moving average of 330.10. The technical setup also remains favorable. The 20-day moving average is above the 50-day moving average, while the bullish golden cross formed in June of 2025 remains in place, and this reinforces the longer-term trend. Momentum indicators suggest the rally is not overstretched. The Relative Strength Index, or RSI, stands at 53.18, which is a neutral reading that indicates consolidation rather than excessive buying pressure. Key resistance sits near 450, an area that aligns with the stock's 52-week high. Support, that's down near 385, where buyers previously stepped in and where the 50-day trend provides additional backing. So TSM, we've highlighted this a lot as far as the AI trade goes. This is a major cog, and if they do, in fact, raise prices here, we're likely to see the market reward that in the stock. That'd be my read through on that. Okay. We got 3 minutes. Let's see. I know we've got this story might be a little bit long. Okay, I'm going to actually shift stories here to try and do this for the time. We've been talking a lot about some of the other stocks that might be a part of the SpaceX halo effect or might trade up with that. We saw Rocket Lab getting added to the Nasdaq. That's up here. We've talked a lot about like ASTS, SATS, Virgin Galactic, Velo, of course. Talked a lot about some of those space stocks, but this is another one here that can be linked to SpaceX. And you might want to put this on your radar. I hadn't thought about this. I don't think we've talked about this before, so I wanted to bring this here to the group. SpaceX linked Power Law. Stock is popping in the pre-market. The ticker on this one is PWRL. Power Law Corporation, PWRL, shares jumped 13.64% to $25 in the pre-market session on Friday. The surge in the pre-market dollars follows a previous day gain of 14%, which closed the stock on the California-based closed-end management investment company at $22, according to Benzinga Pro. Power Law was not the sole beneficiary of the SpaceX debut. Space-related stocks broadly rallied heading into the debut, with Virgin Galactic, ticker SPCE, surging 13.26% in the after hours on Thursday. ASTS Space Mobile gained 6.86%, and Rocket Lab, ticker RKLB, climbed 5.85%. Power Law went public on May 27. It operates a closed-end fund designed to give everyday retail investors exposure to high-growth, late-stage private technology companies that are typically only available to institutions. This bridges a long-standing gap between Wall Street and Main Street investors. So just another one here for you to take a look at, PWRL. It looks like it printed a high of 29.78 in the after hours yesterday, and it's coming in a little bit here today, but maybe another one to add to your SpaceX sympathy watch list. And by the way, we talked about that debuting or IPOing on, I think it was May 27th, what we just said in there. Take a look at this. Here's a look at the chart since the IPO, indeed, May 27th. This thing basically just sold off, but did it find a bottom down here and maybe it's starting to curl back up? This type of formation, I want to look for this in a number of these stocks that are tied to SpaceX, excuse me. All right, it's 8:30. It's Friday fun day. That means it's Mark Putrino time. Mark, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing really well. Look, are you as excited as everybody else for the SpaceX IPO?
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. My guess is that it opens up. I think it priced at what, 135?
135. Yep.
My guess is it hits the market way above that, and then I don't know. In 2 weeks or so, it'll probably be trading around 60 or 70. So,
okay.
Just a guess, but that's based on history of the way these super hyped up IPOs have.
Mark, I'm sorry. That is too good. That is just absolutely too good. That is, you're literally saying exactly what we thought here. First of all, we have a poll going on right now that is asking what we think the price will be. So please vote in our poll. I'm
going to go with 300. I'm going to say it hits the market at 300.
300. Okay, so you'd be voting for option 4 there. Producer, I don't want to run street treats right now. I don't want to interrupt this segment, but do you have the capability of putting that graphic on screen so that Mark and I can talk about it? I'm sorry to be throwing you a curveball here live, but
that's all right.
Here we go. All right, let's blow this up. Make this full screen here for me. So here's this is a tweet that I'm going to share here pretty soon, but this has a very interesting graph, Mark, that I'd love to get your opinion on. It basically shows and here, let me see if there's a way. Yeah, there is a way to do this. Here we go. It shows the life cycle of an IPO. All right, IPO day, it pops, it goes up, but then it comes, producer, then it comes back down. Retail gets in, it goes down more. The hype unwinds. Retail sells at the bottom. It's dead money for anywhere between 1 and 4 years. Then it starts to curl up, maybe fakes a couple of people out, but then the real move takes place later. Is this your experience when it comes to IPOs, Mark?
Well, for the ones that are really hyped up, or what we used to call hot IPOs, yeah, I think there's a good chance that happens. And I'll give you all a little bit of insight into how the institutional trading world works. So if you're an institution, if you're a money manager, hedge fund, or money manager, you're compared to a benchmark. So let's just say, like the last firm that I was at, we specialized in small cap and micro cap stocks. So our benchmark would be, say, the Russell 2000. So basically what you do is you make your portfolio a quasi index fund, right? And then if you do enough commission business with Wall Street, when a hot IPO like this comes along, you get an allocation. And what they do is they say, here's your allocation. If you want to sell it, just don't do it through us. So they get the shares and then they go through another broker and they sell them. And it's basically free money. And that's how the money managers get slightly ahead of their benchmark. So they don't, the secret of being around for a long time is not going for home runs in that world, it's going for singles. So if that'll put you right ahead of your benchmark. So you're slightly better than average and everyone's happy. You're happy, the clients are happy, and that's it. So there will be a lot of institutional selling when this thing hits the market. I mean, I don't know if it'll be enough to really drive it down. We'll see. But yeah, it's interesting. It's a historic day, I guess you could say, in Wall Street history. I mean, does this mark the top of something? I don't know.
I feel the same way. And I'll be honest, I can't answer if it marks the top, if it marks a bottom, or whatever it is. But I totally agree with you. I do think it's going to be historic, and I can't wait for it. Okay, you want to share your screen?
Yeah, sure. All righty.
All right, let's go ahead and throw this up. What do you got for us today?
Well, today I just finished my stock of the day article, which I write every day for Benzinga. Well, every business day, I should say. But I looked at the super microcomputer, and this is a really interesting thing here, right? One of the things that I really like to focus on when I trade is the important price levels. And you can, for some reason, some price levels are more important than others. And sometimes we know why, sometimes we don't. But back here in January of last year, stock's going down and it finds support right around here. And then it turned. So when it made that turn, when the trend changed at that level, it made that level important. There's a history there now. So a lot of the people who sold here regretted it when the price goes higher. And they say, if I can, I'll buy my shares back, but only if I can get them at the same price I sold them for. So we drop all the way back. The same level becomes support again. Same kind of thing happens. We go over here, we drop back, the level becomes support again. Finally, the support breaks, and now we have a reverse emotion. Instead of seller's remorse, we have buyer remorse. People who bought around here regret it because now they're underwater, and they say, if I can get out of this thing at break even, I will. So when the stock rallies back up to that level, remorseful buyers placing sell orders created resistance at the support level. Similar dynamic is back here, but it just manifests itself in a different way. We break out, and then some of the people who sold here say, I shouldn't have sold. If I could buy my shares back at the same price I sold them at, I will. So now that we've dropped all the way back, that level has converted back into a support level. So this is a pretty good illustration of this. Back when I was in business school, the whole thing was like, oh, random walk, you can't beat the market, blah, 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 blah. If stocks followed a random walk, there would be no such thing as a support level or a resistance level. Every level would have equal importance. And clearly, this level is important for the stock. So that's what I did today.
Also, with that whole random walk thing, every single chart would look different. There'd be no patterns that you could figure out from stock to stock. It's definitely not a random walk. That's nonsense.
That's in the academic world, right? That's what they say is those who can do, those who can't teach, which is kind of ironic that I'm a teacher now.
It's come full circle now, Mark. That's what's happened.
All right. So just looking for a couple trading ideas here. I like to, probably my favorite idea is, well, my new favorite idea is the short squeeze unwind, and we'll go over that. So anyway, this is Western Union. And once again, we see this dynamic of finding support at a former support level. Now, this is oversold. A lot of trading is based on the concept of reversion to the mean. So if we get stretched too far in one direction or the other direction, that's going to draw in people that are anticipating a reversal or a reversion. So this is going to draw in buyers, and their buying may push the price higher. So we got kind of a double whammy thing going on here. We're at a price level where there just happens to be a lot of buy interest, and we have these oversold conditions, which could draw buyers in. So now the key here, though, is not to try to get into the trade yet, because this support could break and it could keep going down, obviously. So what we want to do is wait for the reversal to start. So maybe a trigger for me would be, all right, if this blue line crosses back above this red line here on the RSI, that's the trigger to buy. So basically, the way I look at this is we're at the race and the starter has said on your mark, get set, but they haven't said go yet. So what would the go be? Well, the go would be what we call in trading the trigger if we cross back above that red line there. So it's pretty much everything in trading is counterintuitive, which is why it's so hard for most people to do. And one of the things is your instinct is to buy something that's going down. That's what people like to think. Oh, it's going down, it's a bargain. But in reality, you should buy it when it's on its way up. So you want to buy it when the reversal starts, because if the reversal starts, then we could kind of infer that the sellers who knocked the thing down are gone. They're done. They're finished or they cancel their orders. So we can rally off of the support levels, because some of the buyers who create the support start to get nervous and anxious and impatient, and they start looking around thinking, man, those sellers are going to go to whoever's willing to pay the highest price. So I'm bidding 730. I'm going to bump that up a little bit. I'm going to go to 735. Someone else sees that and they're like, that guy's at 735. I'm going to go to 740, and so forth and so on. And you get a snowball effect that pushes the price higher. Now, my target would be right up around here, because as we've seen, that price levels that were support can become resistance levels. Now, if I was to get into this trade, this is how I would approach it. And this is an important thing to think about, because it's easy to buy things. People like to buy things because it's exciting. You got a new thing to watch. The difficulty is the selling. And that's because of your psychology. So we want to make sure we always have an exit strategy when we get into the position initially. So let's just say I was to buy this Monday. My initial stop out, which is preventing disaster, would be somewhere down around here. If this thing ticks down to 725 or 720, I'm going to say, you know what? I was wrong. The sellers still are out there. I'm just going to blow out of this thing and walk away with a small loss. My target for a profit would be up here. And let's just say that it started to move in my direction and I got something on the table here, a profit on the table. Well, then you start thinking about the trailing stop or some type of stop out. So I would move my stop out up underneath the order, right? Or underneath where the stock is. And then if it reverses, I would start to sell before it gets to my price target. Or if it just starts to go sideways and crosses the trend line, that's a concept that we call a time stop. If it's not working for 5 or 7 days or whatever you write into your rules, then you just move on and you look for something else. So that's really the difficulty, is the selling. If paper trading is easy, right? If you say your paper trading system tells you buy 1,000 shares at 10, sell them at 15. All right, you buy 1,000 shares at 10, goes to 15, you sell them, and people are like, oh, this is easy. I'm up 50%. I'm the next legendary hedge fund manager. Now let's pretend you got real money in there. You put a real $10,000 in there. Now the whole mindset changes. The stock goes to 12, and you're starting to think, well, I know my target's 15, but I'm up 20% here. It's $2,000. I'm just going to go sell this and take my profit. And then the thing goes to 15 and you left 3 points on the table. So the fear of losing that profit makes people sell things too soon, and they don't let their winners run. On the downside, paper trading, you could say, hey, if it gets to 9, I'll blow it out, take $1,000 loss, move on. Real life, I don't want to lose $1,000, and I don't want to admit that I was wrong. So I'm just going to hold on to this thing and hope that it comes back. And it turns into a big blow up. And instead of hooking your 5-iron and being in the rough, you hooked your driver in the woods, and the ball's in the woods, and you've blown the round up. So keep in mind the important thing is the selling. When I worked at SAC, I remember Cohen said some of the traders their win rates are only 50%, but they're phenomenally successful. And it's because they have the psychological discipline and fortitude to let their winners run and to cut their losers short. So that's really the difference between whatever your system or strategy is. That's really the difference between success and not success. Is successful traders don't take big losses. They take small losses.
And they keep them small. And you can, here's the thing, like in your example here with Western Union, if you get stopped out at what, 724 or whatever value that was, if it ticks down and then it comes back up and sets up for another trade again, you could just buy it again.
Yeah, exactly.
Just keep yourself protected, right? Like that's a really important lesson. Don't allow yourself to take that big loss.
Yeah, it's easier said than done, but that really is the key. It's like, it's going back to the golf analogy. It's not really about hitting. A good round really doesn't come from hitting great shots. It comes from not hitting bad shots.
That's right.
Not having those blow-ups. Right. So
keep those double bogeys off the card, Mark. Keep those double bogeys off the card.
Double bogey. So sometimes I'd be very happy with a double bogey on some of these courses around here.
those holes where you put up a snowman and you're rethinking your life. Like, what the hell was I doing?
Oh man, like we go over to Wingfoot. I haven't played there in a while, but you go on those bunkers. Never mind, you can't see the green. You can't even see the top of the flag. It's like the bunker's like 10 feet deep. Yep. And, and then you hit it and it goes over the green and goes into the bunker on the other side. And hit it back.
And then you've compounded your problem. Yeah. Let's not do that when we're trading real money around here.
Yeah. All right. So let's see if they're posting quotes for SpaceX yet. And probably not. Yeah. I don't think they're posting it yet.
No, they're not.
Yeah. But I'm up for taking some questions if people want to look at specific things.
Yeah, you know what? I'll start here. So I'll put the call out to the group. What stocks do you folks want to take a look at? Mark's given us a lot of time here for ticker time. Mark, I would like to request Adobe first because this was our big earnings report yesterday, and there might be some key levels coming in here.
Okay. All right. Before that, I want to just point this out. We had this big jump in bearish sentiment. This is a big jump for 1 week to go up 10%. This is good for the market. This is bullish. This, to me, tells me the market's going to keep kind of grinding along and going higher. Because if people are very bearish, there's money on the sidelines. And they watch the prices go up, and finally, they start investing. And when we get to the point where we have euphoria and people are really happy about things and really bullish, that's the top. Because the market runs out of buyers. So right now, I mean, these numbers look pretty good. And it's actually surprising to me, considering that the market's basically at an all-time high. But I guess the war in Iran over there has gotten people very bearish, which ironically is good for the market, right? When this is where the Iran war, if we can even call it a war, I guess it's really a police action, technically. But this is where that happened and people were freaking out, right? And I guess I could understand why, uncertainty, but clearly the market was wrong, or the people who sold down here were wrong. And look at what we've done since. And yesterday was a powerful move, and looks like today will be okay. If we want to go look at the financial sector here, this is something that's, I think, is kind of important to watch, is this right here. So if this breaks out, this is XLF. Yeah. This is the financial sector. If this breaks out, that's going to be a real catalyst for the broader market because the financials haven't really been participating. So this is something I have my eye on here. All right, Adobe. All righty, what do we got here?
Yeah, and you kind of already have it there on the chart. We just broke a support. And so I'm wondering two things. I could just set this up here for you. Number one, what do we do if it recaptures this level pretty quickly? And then conversely, where does it go next? I'm thinking maybe 150, 155.
All right, let me look at the volume here. I typically don't look at the volume, but in a situation like this, it could be telling us something. If you get a big downtrend, it happens on the upside too, but it's more likely on the downside. If you get a big downtrend like this, what happens is some of the people who are selling, they just get sick of watching the thing go lower and lower and lower. And they decide, I don't care about the price. I just want to get out of this thing. So they capitulate. Now, the reason why that may be bullish is because if this dust settles and, people think like, all right, well, the news was bad, but the market overreacted, and they go in and try to buy, they'll have a tough time finding sellers because the sellers are all gone. They've capitulated. But right now, this is like free fall city here, man.
Yeah. Free fall city. And so zoom out a little bit, because I think if you go back a number of years, you can really find a pretty good, you might even need to go to a weekly rather than a daily, but Adobe's got a long history here. I'm thinking we start testing some of these real historical levels.
Probably. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's
That free fall breakdown there, that's, and I also think that this is one of those situations where letting the dust settle before you actually take the long is absolutely the right move. To the point that you were making earlier about not buying it while it's going down, instead wait for it to start going up. This seems like a prime candidate for that.
yeah. So another stock I wrote about was Enphase, and this is kind of my new favorite trading strategy, because I was thinking yesterday, every single one of these that I've done over the past year was profitable. Not that I'm like bragging or anything, but so basically what I do is I look for these stocks that go into these short squeezes. And what happens is people who's short, they borrow shares from someone, and the idea is they're going to buy them back at a lower price and return them and keep the difference. When the price starts going up, the shorts start to freak out because they're losing money. It's like being long a stock that's going down. Now, the climax of the short squeeze comes when the people who loan the shares to the short sellers see how high the price has gotten and they decide to sell. So they call up their broker, they sell, the shares get called in, and the shorts are go forced to buy it regardless of the price. When that is finished, you can get things that look like this. So the idea is once this thing starts to break down, I look to target some out of the money puts, and I consider it a low risk, high reward strategy, because I mean, there were puts that in a matter of 12 hours went up 30-fold in value. I mean, it was crazy. I mean, this is pretty unusual.
Yeah.
But anyway, Enphase was kind of the same thing. So we could just screen for stocks that have high short interest that are overbought, and just wait for them to start going down, and then that's when you act. Again, you got to wait for the move to start. You don't try to catch the exact top.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's really the key there. Real quick, just a couple of comments here regarding Adobe. There's too many disruptors with with I set a show for me. I'm sorry, Coin Fox. I don't know what you mean with that, but I do know what you mean overall. There are too many disruptors to even think about owning Adobe. Part says, I don't like Adobe. They just had a big price increase, and I see a lot of people switching away from using their products. I see that too. I'm just wondering, maybe they have another product, or maybe their AI offerings kind of help that. Nonetheless, though, it was more about the chart than anything else.
Yes, I finally, after being so reluctant, I finally have decided to join the AI revolution. One of my students was saying, dude, you should have a digital brain, right? Like an AI thing. And I have all my trading lessons, and I could put them in there, and I could put maybe some of my Benzinga articles in there. And I'll shutter. I don't want it to go out and prowl the internet, because 90% of the stuff out there is garbage. So it's just going to be my stuff in there. And I don't know. It's a pretty cool idea. So what's good about it, what's really intriguing to me, is with the AI, it could be translated into any language in the world. So it's a huge market. Well, anyway, I'll keep you informed as things progress here. But I guess if you can't beat them, join them. And that's what I did.
Okay. You can't beat them, join them. That works. Okay. We've got a couple of other stocks that folks want to take a look at. I really appreciate this here, folks. Let me scroll back up and get to those. First one here was Sweet Green, ticker SG. That's one I don't know that we've really looked at that. Let's do that. Then we'll do Meta and Astus.
Sweet Green. Okay. Well, obviously, I've looked at this before, because there's you can see this resistance level.
And look at that gap above too.
Yeah. So this is, just to point something out here, this is support at the former resistance level. Now, there's a good chance there's going to be resistance here around 10. I'm going to go up to the top there, like around 1020, because there's people who bought up here who are watching this thing now saying, man, if I could finally get out of this thing at break even, I'm going to. So there's probably going to be some selling around here. Now, this is an interesting thing here too, because a lot of technical analysis, people just don't understand it, because so many people that do it just really don't know what the hell they're talking about, in my not so humble opinion. But if we see something like this, where we have I don't know what you would call this, maybe a doji or a sushi top, or I don't even know what you would call it, but it's the Maguro sushi. I like unagi and Maguro. Those are my two favorite. But when the market's going down, it's out of equilibrium. When you see a day like this, where the open and the close are very similar, the market is in equilibrium. The buyers and the sellers have equal strength. And that could be the signal that we're just about to shift to being out of equilibrium in the other direction. So if you see something like this after a trend, either an uptrend or a downtrend, it could mean something. If you're going sideways, you know the market is in equilibrium. So a pattern like that is meaningless. It doesn't mean anything, but it means something if it's at the end of a trend. So a big part of chart analysis is understanding where the patterns occur. Like I'm in the Market Technicians Association, the CMT Association, and they did have this guy do this big study, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago or whatever, on the head and shoulders pattern. So he went through his computers and found all these head and shoulders patterns, and he basically came up with the conclusion the head and shoulders pattern is not a valid pattern because I identified so many and 90% of them didn't work out. Well, this guy just doesn't get it because the head and shoulders pattern is a reversal pattern. It illustrates the dynamics of a reversal. If it's in a sideways trend, it's not a head and shoulders pattern. So if we look here, they're very hard to find, like classic ones. But if you understand the dynamics, it makes it much easier to read the turn. So when a market is going higher, what was resistance can become support. It's like a staircase. What was the top of one range becomes the bottom of the next range. Now, this is the essence, in my opinion, of the head and shoulders. When what was the left shoulder does not become support, that's warning sign number one. So a characteristic of a market that's going up is seller's remorse. When the market's at a top, the seller remorse ceases. So that's your first signal. The second signal is that the right shoulder is a lower high than the head. So that's the essence right there. Now, if it was going sideways, that pattern wouldn't mean anything. But if it's after an uptrend or a downtrend, if mirror image, it means something. So anyway, that's my take on that. And speaking of patterns, I mean, I'll get into some more charts here, but the ascending and the descending triangle patterns tend to be pretty good, or I should say reliable. And what I want to do here, if I can read, is bring up gold, because there was a textbook ascending triangle pattern here, which is here. Now, again, we don't want to just look at the pattern and say like, oh, it looks like this pattern, it looks like that pattern. We want to understand the dynamics the pattern is illustrating. So let me just clean this up here. So what this shows is that the sellers are basically, hey, you know, I'm chill. If the buyers come, I'll sell. If not, I don't really care. It's not a fire sale. The buyers, however, as time is going by, are getting more and more aggressive. They're coming in at higher prices. So you get those, what we call higher lows, when the valley forms at a higher level than the prior valley. So this pattern is a graphical illustration of aggressive buyers and complacent sellers. Now, if we come up to recently, we have the opposite. We have the descending triangle. So this shows that it's the sellers who are aggressive and it's the buyers who are patient. The buyers are willing to hang out down here. The sellers are getting increasingly aggressive. They're coming in at lower and lower prices. So this is a graphical illustration of aggressive sellers and complacent buyers. And you look how important this price level. It was resistance, then it became support, then it became support. And when that support broke, we had a big drop there. A lot of times when you break support, it's followed with a quick drop. Support is a level where there's a lot of buy interest. And if you break the support, you can infer or assume that the buyers are gone, or they finished their orders or they canceled their orders. Regardless, they're out of the way. So when new sellers come in, they have a tough time finding buyers and they have to really push the price lower to get the buyers interested. So if you see these ascending or descending triangle patterns, they tend to be pretty reliable and they're easy to understand too. So
yeah, I like those. Can we do Meta?
All right. What do we got here? So it's bouncing up a little bit this morning. But yeah, here you can see what I just kind of talked about. When you break the support, you can get this like kind of a steep sell-off. But to me, I would say this stock to me looks kind of bearish, and I would not be surprised to see it retest these former lows down around here, because that's a pretty, usually a trend that's this steep, there's going to be some kind of a follow through in it.
Yeah, that to me looks like that's coming into 525 soon.
Yeah.
Soon. All right. Velo, VELO. This has been a big winner and a very popular stock that has traded up on the SpaceX halo effect. Had a huge run yesterday, so I'm curious to see what the chart tells you on this.
All right. So it's trading down this morning. Now, look at where it happens to be trading. Right there. So we're trading like right here. So this is a situation where, again, what was resistance becomes support. So if I was long the stock, I would be pretty worried that it breaks this support, because it could plunge pretty quickly right back down. This is our situation, or it's a principle of markets that if you move quickly through price levels in one way, and then you get back to those levels going in the other direction, you can move fast right back through them. And the reason for that, like if you've ever heard the statement, gaps tend to refill, this is what it refers to. One of the reasons why we get support is remorseful sellers buying shares back. Well, when you blast through these levels or you gap through them, there's just not a lot of time for there to be this big concentration of remorseful sellers who are going to be trying to buy shares back on the way down. So when the sellers come in, there's not a lot of buyer orders around. One of the main reasons why we get resistance in a market is remorseful buyers selling things on the way up. Someone buys something at 10 and it goes to 8, and they say, if it gets back to 10, I'll sell it. Well, when you gap or you blast through these levels really quickly like this, there's just not a lot of time for there to be a lot of this large concentration of remorseful buyers who's going to be selling on the way back up. So when the buyers come in, they have a hard time finding sellers, and they got to be really aggressive. So if we break this support, there's a chance that this thing could drop pretty quickly right back to down around here. So I guess at this point, it's just kind of a waiting game. I mean, if it looks like it's going to hold, there might be some kind of a tradable bounce there.
Man, we talked about that 15 level a number of times being a real good reload level, and look what this thing has done over the past several days. Just incredible. Lav says, yeah, but not always, and that's the problem. Lav, I would push back, and I would say, what is 100% in the market? My answer would be nothing, and that's why you have to plan for both sides.
Actually, I say there is a guarantee in the market. Whatever the trend is, it will eventually change. So markets are always trending. They're going sideways, up or down, and eventually that trend will change. And that's about the only thing that's a guarantee in the market.
I want to get you out of here with this question. I've noticed there's almost always a W pattern before an aggressive rise. Is there anything to that, or is this person just crazy?
No, I mean, it could be, because if we have like a double bottom, it shows that it's an important level. So there might be something to it. I mean, I don't know if I would get too caught up on like looking for patterns that fit the narrative there, but yeah, I think so. Things tend to rally off of bottoms because the buyers start to outbid each other and they cut ahead of each other.
And in a case with a W formation, you're basically testing that bottom area a second time. And if that holds, then perhaps investors are more likely to want to buy into that.
Yeah, I mean, this would probably fit the definition of could be viewed as like a classic double bottom. The reason why I don't really talk about double bottoms or triple bottoms is because I would hope that we would catch the turn down here. In the traditional technical analysis, you need to wait for the neckline to be broken to be called like an official pattern, so to speak. So you're really waiting, you're going to give up a big part of this move if you're waiting for this neckline to break. So I would hope that my students would catch it down here, like coming off of this support level, oversold in that support or whatever. But that's my thoughts on that one.
Okay.
Oh, look at that, man. 25.50. So it's really starting to fall apart.
Yeah, it is. It had a huge move yesterday. Okay, Mark, this is awesome. Really appreciate this. Fabulous stuff. Enjoy your SpaceX day here.
All right, everyone.
If you play golf this weekend, go low.
I'll see you
out of the bunkers. All right, take care. That's Mark Putrino. Folks, don't forget. Oops, I put 13 on a little early there. Producer, we got to figure that out, man. We got to figure that out. That's no bueno. But don't forget to sign up for Mark's Substack. He does great work, gives you those things, those stocks of the day all the time. Great writing, smart dude. be sure to sign up for his Substack. Okay, real quick, I want to do street tweets here, and then we will bring on 13, and we'll get this day kicked off. Street tweets right now. All right, so I already shared the chart here. We're going to do that in a sec, but first I'm going to give you the text. This is from Thierry from RV. Here's the problem with SpaceX, and no analysis can solve it. There's no chart. So you chart folks out there, you probably love this. We have 3 rules for every IPO. Never buy on day one. Wait for the good chart to form, enough price history to read a trend, support, and the real level. And ask yourself if you'd buy at this price if it were already listed, or are you just buying into the IPO hype? So look at how these 3 stories usually trade. A pop as retail piles in, a long grinding melt as expectations meet reality, often down 50% or more, and then the dead money phase, 1 to 4 years of nothing while the company grows into its valuation, and only then do you get the real move. Amazon fell almost 90% after listing before it became Amazon. The class of 2021 was brutal. Robinhood, minus 92%. Coinbase, minus 92%. Rivian, minus 95%. Oatly, minus 97% from their day one highs. A great business and a great investment are not the same thing. The price you pay decides which one you get. SpaceX may well be the most important company of the next 50 years, which is exactly why there's no rush to overpay on the very first afternoon. The rocket launches today. The good chart launches later. We will wait for it. Can you throw the chart up again, producer? Here it is. Here is the IPO life cycle that this person is talking about. We've seen this a lot. Go check out the Figma chart, ticker FIG. That IPO was oversubscribed 40x when it came to market. Look at that daily chart. See what it looks like. So I was getting asked earlier if you should buy it. First of all, guys, I can't recommend whether or not you buy it or not. That's going to be totally up to you. My personal view on this company is going to be a monster. Space is going to be extremely important. Data centers in space, space exploration, all of the other stuff that we're going to do, it's going to be extremely important. And this company is going to be at the center of that. But that doesn't mean it's going to go to the moon today. Just be patient. Again, going back to a larger thought process that we have here, patience has always worked out better for me than rushing, and I'm going to apply that here to this IPO as well. All right, let's get back to live trading. We are going to do pre-market pulse, and we're going to talk to 13. Let's do it. $13, happy SpaceX Day.
Oh, is that what we're calling it?
Well, that's what I just called it right now. I mean, we could call it whatever you want.
Well, I hope you like rockets.
Happy Friday. Happy U.S. World Cup Day.
Oh, I thought that was yesterday. But all right.
Well, the U.S. plays today. They didn't play yesterday. Boy, okay. You are really just making this more difficult for me. Are you doing all right?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. I just didn't know you were going to count different dates for different things.
Oh, dude, I'm beside myself right now. I couldn't be more hyped about this. Before we dive in here, I was saying that just because I made a joke about World Cup here, I said that I owed Lion an apology. So I'm going to make this very, very quick. Lion yesterday said Morocco was going to beat Brazil 2-1, and everybody, including me, laughed at him. When I was watching one of the World Cup preview shows yesterday, one of the experts that actually played U.S. men's national soccer, who was a midfielder, gave his top 10 ranking. And when he did the ranking, he had Morocco right on top of Brazil. Now, the host asked him about that because it was odd. And he said, look, Morocco is a very, very good team. And I know that they're 50-1 to win this and Brazil is 9-1 to win this. But I actually think Morocco is going to outperform Brazil. And all I heard while I was watching TV was Lion in the background, in the ether, pointing at me and saying, see, I told you. I told you. So, Lion, I apologize. An expert that actually played soccer thinks the same way that you do. We'll see how it shakes out. Okay, now that I've got that off my chest, 13, what do you want to start with here today?
We can start with the movers. We can talk SpaceX. We can do whatever you want. But I got a few movers that I looked at here. And wouldn't you know it, we're actually not in a day where we're getting multiple 100% runners. It's just really one today, it looks like. Maybe two. Let me look here again. Nope, just one. JLHL is slightly under 100%. So that only gives us 100% runner. And that is, yeah, that one's back. BYAH.
But this is a different one. Wasn't it BIYA? Yeah.
It might be, but
Yeah,
I'm going to still pronounce it this way.
Yeah, no, and we are because it's fun. That's absolutely right. So here's your China name. Okay, so real quick, 13. We're going to start with this one since it's at the top of the tool. China names things up 160%, like you just said. No news on this, right?
This actually has news. This is got a partnership with Star Plus. That is a strategic partnership for building out an AI-powered skincare and health ecosystem and expand its healthcare reach. So more of these AI-powered healthcare companies coming into play. And yes, it was BIYA, but I'm still pronouncing it this way too, because this one actually looks like it's pronounced the correct way it sounds.
It's also fun.
Yeah.
It's also really fun to say that. So Oscar here says Ryan has opinion remorse. No, Ryan forgot about Hakimi, who's insane and a Moroccan player and is going to lead that defense and also attacks. Anyway, all right. So with BYAH, let me make sure I don't screw it up here today. So we had the strategic partnership with the Star Pulse Legend Group. So it actually does have a catalyst, unlike some of our other Chinese runners from the previous day. But the short interest negligible, less than 0.61%, 1 day to cover. Float on this one, 2.2 million. It's traded 45 million here today. What do you think of the chart, 13?
Oh, the chart. Let me just go to that. So this one's struggling to get back above the VWAP. That's going to be the resistance right now. If we do manage to recapture that, the next resistance area is going to be up at 325. The company does have some revenue, little cash. It's not profitable, but I don't know that they're going to need to do a capital raise today, but it's still going to be on the table, seeing as they're got quite a small cash position. So if we do recapture that VWAP, I think we'll keep an eye on what happens with 325. 385 is the high. It looks like every 25 cents it comes up to an area of resistance. If this cannot recapture VWAP, we're going to be looking at the 65 EMA as support, and then the 200 EMA beneath it.
Okay, folks, we're going to wrap the poll up in about 6 minutes. Please get your vote in. It's about the SpaceX actual opening price. Please get your vote in. Next stock on the list here is going to be just a repeat here from earlier this week. This is going to be VSME. The big move here was on Wednesday. It pretty much bottomed out yesterday, but it looks like it's gearing back up today, at least in the pre-market here. Stock is up 64%. Remember, this is the Singapore stock. Let's see if there was a catalyst here today.
No news.
No news here today, so it looks like it's just trading action. Reminder, the short interest, pretty negligible, 2.5%, 1 day to cover. Float on this one is 2.7 million. Now, 13, given that this one just recently ran, and it looks like the pre-market resistance area was the only sideways area we really got on Tuesday. What do you think happens here with VSME? Or maybe not, that's not how I should put it. What do you see in the chart here today?
There's a seller on the way at 2. So I think that's going to be our next big resistance area. It's trying to work its way through 185, but I think it'll take that out. We need to watch for what happens up at 2. Above that, you have 220 as a resistance area. The VWAP is right there, in addition to that being a resistance level. And then we also have. It looks like we're not getting past 185 just yet. We do have some support at 182, so we'll see if that holds. But we do need to get back above the 65 EMA. That's been keeping it the price upside suppressed since 7:30 this morning, and it looks to me like this is trying to resolve an inverse head and shoulders on the 5-minute here. I guess we could kind of look at it that way, with 195, $2 being I guess kind of the neckline. So should see this try for 2 to 220.
Yeah, I see that pretty clearly here off the chart. We'll see what VSME ends up giving us today. What else did you have on your list?
JLHL.
JLHL, which I don't even see here.
All right. Well, it looks like we're getting that move with VSME, or at least it's trying to. Let's see if it gets it through $2.
EDHL?
No, that one. JLHL. I was up there. Now, maybe it was just on my scanner and it just didn't have a lot of shares traded. Let me look here. No, it's got 40. Nope, I'm sorry, hold on. This has, nope, you're right. Never mind.
I was going to say, dude, this thing hasn't traded a single share here
It
today.
really hasn't moved. I just was, yeah. So never mind. We can move on from that one.
Okay. Next here, we'll do this. It looks like it's going right as we speak here. This is Putrino Holdings, ticker CUPR. Stock was sitting right around 243. Looks like it went to 450 here. This is another Singapore name, huh?
Very small float. They looks like they just regained Nasdaq compliance.
That's exactly what the catalyst is. We've seen this pop these things before. 9.25% of the float shorted one day to cover. Float under 1 million shares. Probably one of the reasons this is being targeted, if you will. It's traded 6 million shares here today, and this pop is only, what, 10, 15 minutes old?
It's a biotech. And so that means that they probably have very little revenue. They don't have any revenue, it looks like. So they're losing money. It looks like they're going to need cash. According to their balance sheet, they've got less than a quarter's worth. Be careful. We could see. They regain compliance, so that might not offer today, but that cash has got to come from somewhere. So just be careful with this one if you trade it.
Yeah, and we'll give this a little bit more before we actually open here. We might actually get a fair value gap on this depending on what it does, but nothing yet of note. Okay, next one here on the list is going to be DSY. This is Big Tree Cloud Holdings. This is another China name. Did this one run recently?
Traded this before.
Yes, it did. Ran on Wednesday. Guess what? Coming up again here. Can probably use some of these same levels here from Wednesday. This is basically consolidating around the intraday support level that this stock found. Pre-market high. It probably has a little bit more room. I think 10 is probably a little bit more of a resistance area, but we'll see how this pans out. Let me see if there was any news on this. I'm guessing nope. Don't have anything fresh here. Short interest, 3% of the float shorted, 1.16 days to cover. That's really not going to matter here today. 1.25 million shares in the float, traded 22 million already here today. What do you think, DSY?
Yeah, low floats, and if there's enough pushing around of this, we're going to see this thing make some wild moves. I don't know how high it's going to go, but we can infer some resistance areas to where it could go. Looks like at $9.50, $10 could be one area. 12 to 12.50 looks like another. 15. I mean, there's some pretty clear levels that stand out here, but we do have a trend line if you want to draw from the high from Wednesday through the high of the pre-market here. That gives us another trend to break through here. I don't know if this is going to go on that run the same run that it had earlier this week, but just keep those levels in mind. I think we're going to want to use, like you said, use Wednesday's price action as a model for where the support and resistance is.
No question. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Zach, came in the name, so it's dodgy. Absolutely.
I don't like that either, by the way. All right, GMM. This is one that we've traded here before. It looks like this made a big pop Tuesday, June 9th, so earlier this week. Looks like we're coming back here again. Same deal, really found resistance at the only area in which it consolidated from Tuesday. Stock is currently up 42%. It is a China name. See if there's a new, fresh news catalyst for this here today. There is not.
375 looks like a pretty important level to me. That's since that we've come off this move that took us up to 669 this morning, that's been the area that it's been getting support, and it's pretty much in the middle of this consolidation from the earlier pre-market before it jumped around after 6 a.m. So I think that 375 area is one that we're going to want to keep an eye on. If we lose that, it'll probably end up trading lower. But if we get support from there, then we are going to want to watch for a reversal and for the price to come back up through the 65 EMA.
Okay, good stuff. GMM Global Mofi AI, China name. Careful on that. And then the last one that I just wanted to mention here very briefly is going to be EDHL. This was a big mover yesterday in the pre-market only. It was a complete and total disappointment during the regular session. But as soon as the session closed, it started to trade back up. Did that in the after hours. Did it again here in the pre-market, although now it's broken VWAP and really not shown any signs of strength and having compressing volume. This is a Hong Kong name. No fresh news on this. It was a disappointment yesterday. I'm going to steer clear of it today, but it is on the list because of its move higher here in the pre-market. You have anything on this one, 13?
I think you have a little bit more. You're going to have a tougher time going to the upside than you are the downside at this stage. It looks like to me.
Yeah.
I think that changes if we recapture VWAP, but it's got a lot of other resistance above it right now. So it would have to, start making its way back up. Now it is getting some more support from the 200 EMA, which it did yesterday in the after hours. So I think that's would also be the next thing to watch for. If we start trading underneath and losing the 200 EMA, find something else to trade. It's probably done for the morning or the day.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Okay. That should do it here for the movers. 13, was there anything else that you wanted to look at here prior to the SpaceX IPO? We did have a question here for you that was politely asked, if you want me to cover that. Good morning, all. A question for 13, because you had mentioned last month that you were still holding AMD. Do you have any target for AMD in mind? So I guess what we should do here, 13, you can answer the question, but you can also kind of break down the chart, if that's okay. I'll step away for a sec. I'll be right back.
Okay. So, I have been trimming this on the way up per my plan of how I wanted to take gains. My first little trim area was at 300. My second was at 500. And now I'm just holding for now. I still have most of my position left. It's, going to still be a long-term hold. But I'm just, I'm patiently waiting for more of this AI theme to play out, because I don't believe it's done. I think this is going to extend towards the 2030s. Will there be, pullbacks, corrections, things like that? I completely anticipate there will. But my whole plan for AMD is to continue to selling into strength. My next area is of where I would like to trim is I'm thinking it's going to be about 700. So we'll see. It might take a little while to get up there, but this has been my plan. I started picking this up in 2024. Held through and the beginning of 2025, held through all of that. Only started selling this year through this massive rally that took us beyond 300. So that's my plan. I still, am holding this, and I'm still looking for higher prices. And like I said, I don't think the AI theme is finished. But for the time being, it looks like the price is starting to put in a bit of a top here. So if your plan is different from mine, don't it's probably not going to serve you very well to try and mimic the plan that I have for my own trade. But don't try to just hold on to this and be like, oh yeah, this is it's going to go higher just because 13 said so. If this starts to turn around, then I'll reconsider my position on where this is. But for now, nothing's changed. I still think the AI theme is strong. It's going to go on for a while, and I'm still a holder until I'm reaching my targets. I would say that if we start to lose 400 and we start trading underneath the 50-day SMA, you can come back and ask me what my plan is then, because I'll probably have some new idea of what I'd like to do with it. But so far, it's been working out, and I'm just intending to hold until I get my higher price targets. Okay.
Really good stuff there on AMD. By the way, I do see several of you folks are talking about CUPR. That is pulling back from the 504 high. It's back into a 3 handle. So volatile nonetheless. Okay, let's see. What else? Jay Summers, thank you. SpaceX bid 135 at the IPO price. Ask is 170. That's likely going to change. Marvell getting mentioned here. I'll tie this together with a question from Chicago Realtor. Chicago Realtor, not to cop out here, but I don't really know these people all that well. He was asking, he's saying, happy Friday to you as well. Can I get your thoughts on Adobe getting crushed after the strong earnings and the CFO stepping down? So I think we could probably take a look at Adobe from the chart. I would separate them because I don't know much about the CFO, so I'm not sure how that's going to impact them. The one caveat, he's going to work at Marvell. What does that mean? Maybe there's something in his history or his previous jobs or his resume that might kind of tip off what's next there. I don't know the answer to that. That's going to require some more digging for me. So I apologize that I have to punt on that part of the question. But the Adobe chart here, we actually talked about this on Happy Hour, and my view is the same. This 200 is awfully important. awfully, awfully, awfully important. In fact, Big Abees gave us a value of 199.68 as a potential really big support. If you look back here, we are basically on the support from 2019. And if you break this and you go lower here, I am thinking probably 155 first, right in here. I think there's also a gap back there, although it might be hard to see on this chart. So what do I think about the chart? I think today is going to be key. Okay, I think today is going to be key. I can't really tie any part of the trade plan to the CFO stepping down, but this is kind of what I see here. 13, what are your view on Adobe?
Well, I think whenever you have any member of the top brass stepping down, it gives investors concerns. Now, that's not always going to be the case because there are some companies that perform well, and when a CEO steps down or CFO or whatever the position is, there's usually a question of why. Now, in some cases that might be a welcome transition. Don't like the CEO that's in place, even if the stock is doing well, Apple. So there are some cases where a transition would be viewed positively. Clearly not the case, but I think it's a little bit more than that with Adobe. They also had their earnings report that while it was pretty good, they narrowed their guidance for the fiscal year. And I think what the takeaway from all their forecasts that I got was we're expecting to not perform as well for a good portion of maybe not the rest of the year, but most of what's left of the year. And then things are going to start turning around. And that's what I've been getting from a lot of these earnings reports that have been released lately is they're expecting the next earnings cycle to not really have some of the greatest reports. And Adobe's one of them. There was another one that reported. Oracle, I think, was another one. There was one other one too that I think also recently reported. It might have been Abercrombie, but I don't think that was it. Anyway, that's just something I've noticed with these is that they're all kind of anticipating a not so great quarter next earnings cycle, but they're forecasting for improvement thereafter. So we'll see if that ends up happening. I do agree with Ryan and the support area, that 200. The price has to get it back above that real fast, in my opinion. When I look at a monthly chart and I see this break beneath the 200-month SMA, which has never happened in the entirety of the company's history, I think that's a very notable signal. And I would expect the price needs to be lifted back over this, or there could be further bearishness ahead. On top of that, this is also a very oversold stock on the monthly chart. I don't know that there's maybe only like one time it's been this low, and that was back in 2009. Obviously, we know what happened during that area, the GFC. So this is a very, very oversold stock, and I would think that there's going to be some buying happening very soon with this.
Now, as far as this is a signal, the 200-month moving average, we traded down to this, tried to bounce, and then broke it. So to me, that actually makes this even more important than if it was just, kind of crashing right through this. Really good point there. A couple of things to clean up here. First of all, Marcus saying good morning. Good morning, Marcus. Welcome back. The only thing hotter than the SpaceX IPO is my house because my AC is down. Brother, I hope you get that fixed ASAP. That one of the worst experiences of my life was 3 days of 100+ heat with no AC. It was absolutely terrible. I hope you get that fixed. Paul saying Adobe is done. People and companies are tired of subscriptions, and there are so many open source, free, and better choices now. I don't see them making a comeback. This, I think, is a popular view, but 13's point about the chart being oversold, totally separated from that. The other thing to watch here is how does Adobe kind of work with AI? Do they create a new product that everybody uses? Does the name help that product proliferate? There are some other things in here, but Paul, on the surface, I pretty much agree with you on that. I use the free stuff. I would never pay for the product.
This is one of the things that we were talking about when we were looking at Adobe yesterday, is that their big challenge is they need to offer a new suite of products that aren't just AI enabled, but are actually like, completely new, brand of software for them. I can see them making a comeback. I get the point about the free and the open source, but if they have something that is just so good that these open source companies can't match it, I could see that coming back. Now, on the side of subscriptions, I think that's something that everybody's just going to have to get used to, because we are headed to towards a full subscription society. I know that's not what we want to hear, but it just looks that way. Hopefully, I'm wrong about that. I would love to be wrong about that, but we are headed towards a full subscription society with the way things are getting expensive and need to be paid for in smaller amounts. I would love for it to not be the way, but.
Really good stuff coming from our chat here. As a professional photographer, I'm sorry, but the free stuff still has huge issues preventing me from moving from Adobe. So I'm not a professional photographer, so I really, really appreciate this. I know the people that use Photoshop and Lightroom literally swear by those programs and say they could not do their job without it. This has some stickiness. I don't know how that translates to the chart. What I would say is if they come out with a new product that you need for your job that you can't move, the stock's going to go gangbusters again. And then one more thing here. This was great from Big Abees. I'm sorry I couldn't read it out. I'll do it again. The CFO stepping down equals a loss of confidence on the first blush. Expect a short-term sell-off. This could keep going, but we'll see. You guys are bringing up some other really good counterpoints there. So really good stuff here from our chat, folks.
And don't be sorry. This is the kind of information we want to hear.
Exactly. We want both sides. Like, we don't want everyone in agreement. That doesn't help anybody. Give us both sides, educate us, make us better. When I say us, I mean all of us. We got a really good audience here today for the SpaceX IPO. Good luck to everybody. I hope that you have a wonderful day. Please like and subscribe. It's a free way to support what we're doing. We do this every single day. And like I said, we try to give you both sides of everything on there. So like and subscribe would be much appreciated. 13. All right, we're going to be opening here in less than a minute. You got any final thoughts before we rip today?
Final thoughts. I just want to see this market open and what it does.
Okay. Really quick, DFNS. Rustam, I know that you were asking about this. This is a really junky penny stock. This formation has me not wanting to trade this at all. This is what the chart looks like. T3 defense. Maybe this is your penny runner du jour. Rustam, good luck if you're in this, but there really isn't much to cover here.
Give us that bell. Got 15 seconds.
Give us that bell. It's coming here. It is coming. S&P, by the way, above 740 here. It actually bounced a little bit going into. Oh no, Ryan, you just effed that up. No, and it's opening. No.
All right. Yaw is trying to
let's go.
Hold over the VWAP. It's kind of losing it right now, but back and forth out of the gate with that one. EDHL, not doing anything. The SME, stuck between the 65 and 200 EMAs.
Okay, and S&P futures pulled right out of the open. S&P futures basically sitting right on the VWAP. SPY's beneath the VWAP, so we'd want to see a recapture of that in the 9 EMA for a long side trade. S&P futures trying to hold the VWAP, but there is selling pressure.
And Velo down to $25 support and is turning around, recapturing VWAP, other EMAs, recapturing resistance levels. We're looking for, well, it's trying to hold over 29 right now, but it was on its way up to 30.
Okay. BYAH, looks like it's going to test that 288 VWAP there. We'll see. CUPR, this one pulled back. It's bouncing. It recaptured the VWAP to the upside. This actually looks like it's got some buying momentum. No position here for me at the moment. Don't like the Cayman name. Sorry.
GMM is trying to push higher, getting a little bit of resistance, but it tried to push up towards the VWAP at 502.
Okay, I see the CNBC has awaiting SpaceX first trade. They're going through all the opening bells of all of the different companies, including SpaceX itself. We'll keep an eye on that. We'll shout it out as soon as we see it. SPY continues to pull here. S&P futures now clean break beneath the VWAP. That's coming in a little bit.
Are you serious? They're going through all the different IPOs?
No, they're showing the SpaceX team right now ringing the bell, but they just had another team up there that wasn't SpaceX. So it looks like they were rolling through a couple of different teams there. They're doing all of this.
I thought you meant they were like, showing old videos of all these previously large IPOs. No. Wow, this pageantry is real.
Nope. ADTX, crappy penny stock at the top of the scanner list there. Copper ETF is going higher right out of the open. CUPR continuing its bounce above the VWAP. That's actually going for the pre-market highs. Halted to the upside. Halt time there, by the way, 9:32.06. So you're going to be looking at a 9:37.06 possible first resumption time. Buffalo by Bicycle out of his Best Buy swing, 11% gain. We will take that. Nice job.
Nice. Nice cover on your short there, Brian.
Poet calls getting bought. The $11 calls. Poet actually spiked out of the open here. Bought 1,000 calls there. Spent about $250,000 on it. Tesla calls going off here. That's ripping out of the open here too. Watch Tesla for the pre-market highs. Tons of call buying on the back here.
VSME is pushing beyond 2. It's coming up to a series of consolidation between 210 and 225. BR is trying to get back above the VWAP.
Jay here saying banks are strong. JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, and all the others. Here's look at the Goldman Sachs chart. This is straight up out of the gate here. More Poet calls, 1050 this time, and 11s.
Here we go with BR. It might be coming up to. It's taking over the VWAP. Might be coming up to break this trend line. Looks like after the XLF got support from $48, which is one of the support areas I'd put out there last quarter. Getting reversal off of it, recaptured 52. We're trying to reclaim 53 after getting over the 200-day SMA. We are in recovery mode here. Next resistance beyond 53 is going to be 54.
SpaceX not open yet, folks.
BR is testing 3, trying to push to that.
Yep. Left it on screen. Knew that was going to happen.
Wants a break of this trend line.
Tesla, that pop got sold right away. Velo, that pop back to 30 got sold. Boy, everything pulling here. Apple's pulling, Netflix is pulling, Costco pulled, Palantir pulled, Amazon is pulling, everything pulling here. Market also down to the lows here, 738.5 now on the SPY. G-Man, what's the intraday spots you have on SPY today?
Did you get my text this morning?
You know what? I have had a lot going on. I don't think that I did. Let me see.
Oh, it's going to be so topical.
Hedge funds sold broader tech ahead of SpaceX IPO, shown by JP Morgan data. Fulfilled, the prophecy has been with Yoa. That's wonderful.
Oh, the thing we've been talking about, it seems like all month or over the past few weeks, it all happened. And here we go with BR, breaking that trend line, becoming one of the winners of the day.
Folks saying, when will it start? We never actually know. There were some reports that the chat was giving that they had heard that SpaceX was going to be tradable at 10. That was per Bloomberg. That came from some of the reports from the chatters here today. I don't know if that's the case. My gut tells me this thing probably doesn't start trading till after lunchtime, New York time.
BR is going to go into an upside halt.
354. I'll give you the halt time on that. By the way, less than a minute until we get that first unhalt. I think that was CUPR.
They moved it. It's still going. Yep.
All right, I'm going to flip over to CUPR here. We are expecting this to unhalt here in about 35 seconds. Shout out to all of you hanging out with us on the SpaceX Day. We really appreciate it. I know that there are a bunch of channels that you can pick, and you chose ours. You picked the right one, so you started your day with a good decision. I know we're all kind of waiting for SpaceX here. I want to see what it trades. I want to see how it trades. I want to see what trades in sympathy with it and what trades against it. Webcoin says SpaceX shares are hitting his accounts. How many did you get?
Oh, big pull in BR. Also, I think we have ETFs going live today as well.
Yeah, I think. Oh, and Webcoin got 20 shares. Webcoin got 20 shares. Okay, cool. Yeah, and I think that you might be right.
CUPR open. Sorry,
Yep.
CUPR open went down to VWAP. It's trying to push higher now. Looks like somebody came in and put a little wall at around 450.
And yeah, 13 we are. So we're obviously we're waiting for SpaceX to open, but we are also waiting for some of those IPOs. Granite Shares is going to have a 2x leveraged bull and bear ETF. It's going to be SPAL. So that's going to be for the bullish one. I think SNK is the other one. But there's going to be those ETFs too. And as far as trading goes, depending on how those trade and what the volumes look like, I actually might target some of those ETFs or those levered ETFs rather than SpaceX itself, at least early on. For the long-term view on this, I definitely want to own the company itself instead of the ETFs. Those are going to be more for trading versus owning there. Spicy said he got 10 shares. Lich said he requested 2,000 shares and got 690. That's the largest one that I've read about here. I have Fidelity. I asked for 37. I got 10.
CUPR popped up to 508, and it is dancing between that price and the VWAP. Hasn't chosen a direction yet. BR pushed a little bit higher, came back down to the trend line.
So that was kind of like a pop and drop there, huh?
Mm-hmm. A lot of these are popping and dropping right now.
Yvonne, E-Trade, I requested 313 and got 89. And then 1977, I asked for 79, I got 32. I'll be honest, you guys that asked for big allotments, I'm impressed with some of the numbers that you got. I would have thought it would have been lower.
And is this all like what 135 or what's the price you're getting?
Yeah, these are the IPO prices. These are the ones that applied for the IPO, so they're getting it filled at 135.
Nice.
DC Knights Lance, I got 100 shares from SpaceX from Fidelity. Von Rivera asked for 300 and got 300. Oh my goodness. Yeah, Daniel, I heard that it was 4x oversubscribed last night. This morning, CNBC reported that it was 5x oversubscribed.
Oh, fantastic. Looks like there's just a lot of selling getting ready for SpaceX. Everybody
it sure does. It sure feels like that. And a look at the SPY here. It actually looks like we held the pre-market low, and we are trying to bounce here. By the way, no signal from my indicator on the 0 DTEs. We are in the first trade window, but I have not got a signal yet. I will call them out as we get it.
Yeah, I think let's see how much more we have at this double top to resolve, because that's pretty clear what's been going on there this morning. I think you still might see this come down a couple more dollars. Maybe you get 737 as a support.
Liam asking about SanDisk here. SanDisk trading to the upside. That looks to be different than some of the other memory names. Although Micron, this was weaker in the pre-market. This looks like this is turning around. Let's see what WDC is doing. That's also higher here. So Micron actually seems to be the outlier. STX, same deal. STX, SanDisk, Western Digital look the same. Micron playing a bit of catch-up. SPY breaking lower now. So we just took out that pre-market support level that we were trying to hold. SPXS in accordance with that, the 3X levered bear ETF. This is actually moving higher now. 737 looks to be holding so far on the SPY.
That's a great piece of information, because I know that there's been this question, is Tesla shareholders going to have a little bit more of an opportunity here? Our meta saying, wife asked for 75, I asked for 75. She got 10, me 0. She's a Tesla shareholder.
That is interesting. Very, very interesting.
Oh man, go.
Lion, take care of yourself. Good luck. Have fun at the game. Be safe, all right? That's so cool that you're going to see World Cup game. That is just absolutely awesome. Be safe.
Yep. Have a good one. Enjoy the show.
The polls that we were talking about still continuing. Bitcoin pulling, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, Palantir, Palo Alto. I mean, it doesn't matter. Ondas pulling, Tesla is pulling from the highs. So it sure seems like everybody is kind of waiting for this SpaceX to open here. No indication yet for me. CNBC is not reporting any time. They're just saying they're awaiting it. Trump's statement about Iran. That's probably what's driving this lower here. Let's see. Terms that leak. Okay, here. Sorry, it was moving pretty quickly. Terms that leaked out to the fake news have nothing to do with the term.
Uh-oh. I see his video, but he disappeared. Did he just get deleted? Well, anyway. Let's see if I can pull up the chart for everybody to look at. 1 second here, folks. Wouldn't be a day unless we had a little bit of a snap. All right. So here we got the SPY, and we are still coming down. Let's put on some of these things we like to look at here. There we are. All right. So this area consolidation is the next spot looks like we could fall into if this current previous all-time high doesn't give us the support we're looking for. So this previous all-time high of 736.13, that's where we're at right now. 734.59. Here's what it looks like on a daily. So one thing that I've been watching here has been this trend line. Once we fell out of this, I was like, well, that's likely going to be resistance. Sure enough, so far yesterday and today, it is not allowing the price to go much higher. Kind of also makes it gives us a nice 740 resistance area. We want to make things easy on ourselves. So let's see if we hold above this area, which previously was providing some support and resistance. So gives it about what, 736. We'll see if that continues to hold. If not, then this level here and this level here are going to be the next two downside areas I'll be watching for. Do you buy BTC? I mean, you can, but that's going to have to be up to you. We cannot tell you what to do. Proof we are in a simulation. I mean, there's been a lot of speculation that we are. I don't know if I want to speculate with them, but it's fun to think about. Let's look at CUPR, since that is still continuing to go here. This is a nice move up to 564 that we are seeing. Let me see if I can get anything else out of this. It's still going. Maybe $6 is next. Let's look at a daily chart and see if we can identify some spots. Come on, chart. Come on, chart. There we go. So, okay. Yeah, looks like $6 might be a pretty good resistance area. And we're still climbing towards it. Now we are facing a little bit of resistance at the 585, 590 area. Let's go back to it 5 minutes so you can see. There we are, still experiencing some resistance at the 585, 590, but it looks to me like that $6 area is going to be the big resistance. Now, if this starts to come back in, we're going to want to look at $5 as our next area of support. If that doesn't hold, we have VWAP down there. All right, let's see what else we got. When will SpaceX start trading? We were told, I think it was Bloomberg, it's supposed to trade around 10 a.m. Eastern. Usually we start to get most IPOs to trade around that time, if not closer to 1 or 2. CUPR continuing to climb up. Let's see if we get that resistance at 6 or if we're going to break through it. And yeah, try and do, Marcus. But that's typically when IPOs have traded in the past. But Bloomberg is saying that it should be around 10. All right, let me see here. Did Ryan get drafted by Trump to fight in Iran? Boots on the ground announcement. Stay tuned. We'll find out. Is Starlink dropped? No, he doesn't do Starlink. He unfortunately has to deal with Comcast. Does anyone have a pre-open order on? I think some folks are already getting SpaceX, getting assigned SpaceX shares when they were asking for it. So some people are, I think, getting assigned, but it is not open for trading yet. Look at this with CUPR. We are getting resistance after going up to 595, and this is coming right back in. So that $6 area, definitely a resistance spot. Let's see if we get that support we were looking at down towards 5, which is where we were seeing resistance earlier this morning, and now have support.
Okay. 13, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. My power went out. So
Oh,
I don't know what's going on here. Sorry about, pressing the wrong thing. So I'm on my laptop. So sorry about this, folks. My power went out. My battery backup is powering my internet right now, but it's going to die in just a couple of minutes. So hell of a day for the power to go out. Sorry about that, folks. So
we need it for SpaceX.
What's that?
We need the power for SpaceX.
They must need something. Thank gosh it's still cool out here, because I'm going to have trouble if there's no AC today.
Well, stay cool, man, and hopefully you get your power back on so you can join us again. How should I go about the show if we can't get back on? Oh, I guess I'm not going to get my answer. I feel the same way. All right. SpaceX aliens abducted by Ryan? No, just his internet was abducted. Yeah, stay positive. We certainly are. Hey, look at this. CUPR back up, pushing through 6. So that resistance didn't hold up for too long. It did at first, but now we are blasting right through it. All right, let's see where we go from here. Looks like, I mean, that takes us to 8. I don't know that we're going to get all the way up there. I would think maybe 7 is going to be a better area. And here we have like just these $1 moves where every dollar has a next level of resistance. That could be the case here. We'll see if we get up to $1 and we get that resistance. That's the next spot to watch for. Okay. Well, I mean, when it opens, Minecraft builds, you should be able to be able to buy it. But just keep in mind, this is going to be the IPO, and it is going to be quite volatile. We could see a lot of upward price action. We could see a lot of downward price action. I think, I am intending to be a owner of this, but I think I want to avoid some of the volatility. Now, some people aren't waiting. Some people just want to get this because their expectation is that it's not going to go any lower than the open price, and that's a fine expectation to have. I am still going to play it a little bit safe. All right. Oop, I need to scroll down and see what else has been getting said. WDC going up. That's a surprise. Let's take a look at WDC since we've been staring at Cooper for a while. WDC, that is rising here today. Let's get a closer look at it. Look at this movement. That's awesome. So we are coming up to looks like this area here around 558 could be the next level of resistance. Maybe there or 560. So I would call it somewhere between 558 and 560 could be the resistance area for WDC. We'll see if we get that, because as you can see here, we have this, this whole, topping out formation in this area. So I think that's going to provide some resistance, and it might not provide a whole lot of resistance here, but the higher up you go, the more it's going to run into sellers. So I think that's going to be the starting area, and could be troublesome the higher you go. Looking at Cooper, we did get up to 7. It is backing off after hitting 720. You have a great mover here, folks. At what time will SpaceX be tradable? We've heard 10. It may be later than that, but they tend to these IPOs tend to open up and start trading somewhere around 10 a.m. to 1 or 2 p.m. Eastern. Now, I'm sure we'll get that question again pretty soon, and I'll be happy to answer it then. And here we are with Cooper going into an upside halt, or it was just a moment ago. 750 is now the print. It is trying to push higher towards 8. What a mover this has been, folks. All right, let's see what else we got here. What do I think?
13.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm on mobile hotspot right now. So I'm on my laptop and I'm on mobile hotspot. So I apologize. I appreciate you continuing to share here, but I'll do my best to call out what I'm seeing.
Okay, no problem. I will do my best to manage this this screen. So here we are looking at X over. I'm just taking a look at this because it was requested. Looks like this is in a downward trajectory. but you do have some support, I would say just under 20 coming. Down here at 1950 looks the strongest. So if we are going lower, that's what I would expect out of that one. Getting it back above 20 might be a little bit hard of an ask for it right now, but that's going to be the resistance to the upside. CUPR 771 is now the high. What else would we be looking at here?
BYAH is right beneath its VWAP, but it's not breaking down, and it looks like it might make another run towards the highs. And I don't see SpaceX being open. I do have a signal here on Pro that it is halted.
Okay.
Quote resumption, IPO security released for quotation. So I think we might be getting ready for that.
Yeah, because that's 8 minutes away from that 10 a.m. Time that I think you said Bloomberg was going to IPO it. Or
yeah, that was that was a report from our chat earlier today.
Okay. So with BR here, still getting support from that 65 EMA, still trying to get above and hold above that VWAP. We did get some of that earlier out of the gate here. Still, now it's resistant. So we get back above VWAP, we should see the other side of 3. So we're just 7 minutes until potentially that SpaceX IPO. Let's look at VSME. That's another mover we were looking at here today, and then I'll take a look at GMM. So this one kind of still stuck between the 200 EMA and the 65 EMA. VWAP still resistance. Tell me if you've heard this story before. Looks like if we do get back above that 65 EMA, keep an eye on $2. We still have that consolidation from earlier this morning. That could continue to be or prove to be a bit of a resistance area as it was here and here.
SPY so far is trying to hold 735, so it's pretty good that we're getting a bounce right here. But boy, oh boy, I think we have a lot more to retrace than that.
So we did get a little bit of that support we were looking for from this consolidation. It is trying to turn around, but as you can see, we are kind of wicking above this green level here. Is the 736 and 13 cent previous all-time high. If we can't recapture this, I'd say by the next 5-minute candle, the candle following that is probably going to take us lower. Go ahead.
PSCA saying Fidelity is lagging bad.
Yeah. Looks like
At least
Mara,
I didn't step on a Lego. Yeah, of course.
Looks like Mara is having resistance at $14. Second visit up here today since the open, and it is not able to get above 14. And here we have possibly the reason. Looks like this is concentrated with some sellers here, as is this area. So 14, going to need some bigger volume to get through that area as people are trying to seemingly get out of this after having their bags filled for them. ADSK, Into, and Adobe all look the same. Let's take a look.
SanDisk, by the way, at more highs here. Adobe continuing to pull back. So Adobe did break that 199.89 level that Chris gave us earlier. So we'll see if we've got some more downside here from Adobe. Looks like it already tried to break that once, found some support down there, 197. That would be the level to watch again.
It seems like they all look the same. I think Into it doesn't look as bad, but those other two look like they've kind of, curved over. I
actually am seeing an unusual Micron call buy here. Traders spent 1.27 million, bought 260 contracts. Expires next week. Those are the 1,050 calls. So Micron call buyer here on the pullback.
So this is looking good right now. This 980 area, that was resistance because we were using it as support since yesterday in the after hours. And that was support all through most of pre-market. We lost that area of support into the open. Now we're recapturing it after initially finding resistance earlier this morning after the open. So this is a good sign. I would say that we could see 1,000 as we choose through all of this consolidation. And I think those calls are going to help lift it up there. So you might have 1,000 incoming here with Micron, folks.
You might have 2,000 incoming here with SanDisk. But Vash, you were asking if it's going to hit 2,000. It has got Mo to the upside, and it is less than 30 points away from 2,000. I would think that's a pretty good bet.
It's getting pretty overbought on the 5-minute.
Bloom Energy to the highs.
Is this all-time highs? I think this is all-time highs in SNDK, right? Oops. Let's go to this. Yes, it is.
A lot of action on Marvell and the options. Actually, both a mixture of puts and calls. More to the call side, but a mixture of both. Looks like multiple sweeps on that in both directions.
Marvell looks like it's both lagging here. So this is on a daily chart. So nice, rise. This creates the pole. We have the flag. We should see this resolve over 320. It may take some number of days, but that's just what it looks like right now. So that's what we're going to want to watch for. You can even do something like this.
Velo continues to come in. 24 looks to be the support.
What else do we want to look at? You want to take a look at Velo real quick? Which had a fantastic run yesterday. So now we are coming down to this trend line, which was formerly supported. I don't know what happened to that space of time that used to be there, but it's gone now. So this support area, it's getting it right now, but let's see here. I would say, yeah, that 24, 25 area, that's going to have to hold. Maybe even this 2385. What's this high here? 2384. That might be the spot to watch for. Because if you line that up, you look at where the price went to, it's today's low, 2384.
Stuart saying, when is SpaceX trading? We don't know for sure. The only report that we've got came from Bloomberg, said that it's going to open in about 2 minutes. They did say that they're preparing quotation on SpaceX, so I guess we're expecting that here pretty soon. I still would be a bit shocked if we got it before lunchtime, frankly, but it appears that that's going to be the case. We will call it as soon as we see it. And Terry was asking for thoughts on Redwire 13. Terry, our group likes Redwire as kind of like a space infrastructure play. However, it's been on a pretty big run, or it was on a pretty big run that we were able to trade that. Now we're kind of in a waiting phase here on Redwire. Oh, look, 13, look at that trend line. Okay, so it bounced off that trend line. Perfect.
Yep. So, well, it's coming down for support. And you also have the 65 EMA in there, even though I like to use lagging moving averages for longer term charts. So there you go. This could be more of an area where it comes down to 14 does look like a good spot, seeing as how that was formerly resistance and now it's turned into support. So I think between the 50-day SMA and $14, you're going to have a really good area of support if we don't get a turnaround here soon with this price action. Still looks to me like this might come in some more. But yeah, as you were saying, this went on a very nice run. And this is, I think this is right after they had their after SpaceX did their Starship 12 test flight. Now, if we get this support, we'll just want to wait for a recapture of the 20-day SMA. So there's a couple of things to watch for with Redwire. Just need to see if we get that support at a little bit of a lower price.
Resolve AI at the highs, that actually might make a run through 3 here, and the volume this morning looks pretty good. That's up 15% as we speak. Seeing more Tesla puts get bought, AMD calls getting bought, Ionic calls getting bought, all from the unusual option scanner.
Resolve AI has a large seller stacked up at $3. So if and we've only been able to get up to $2.95. This company, I've wondered, is this going to do what it forecasts to do? They only report 2 times a year, but they are expecting some massive numbers later this year from their revenue. So just got to look at their guidance, look at their last earnings report, and you can see what they were talking about. And it's been moving great ever since.
Perceived shift. Hopefully the weather isn't too bad. Right now it's 60s, so I'm doing good out on my balcony here. Feels great, actually. Hopefully the power kicks back on. I did see the ComEd trucks roll by here, so they're currently working on it, but no indication yet. Of course it happens on SpaceX Day. Did we expect anything else?
Being asked if we like Lunar. I'm not particularly fond of Lunar. They're
especially when it tips over.
Well, yeah, they have yet to land on the moon, and they've I think they sent 2 missions out there. Both ended up not working out. Meanwhile, Fly Aerospace also has landers, and they're going to be part of the moon base. They actually can land. So Fly might be better than Lunar, but Lunar is still going to be part of that moon base with NASA. So they're still going to they still have a shot. But I think I'd like Fly Aerospace better. And I've been pretty vocal about my thought on Lunar in the past. If this can't stick the landing, then I'm just not really interested, because that's their whole business. So I think they have one more shot to get it right, and we'll see how that goes. I'll probably change my attitude about them then if they do. But I think Fly Aerospace is the better one for the lunar moon base. And here's a little bit of a watch list for you. It's a very short list for now. Still doing some work on it, but Fly Aerospace, Goodyear Tire and Rubber. I know that's a weird one. Lunar, Rocket Lab, and Voyager are the ones I have so far for the lunar moon base. I know there's some more. I just need a little bit of time, but so far this is what I have for my lunar moon base. Why is Goodyear on there? Because they are going to have different vehicles to transport astronauts around, and they've partnered with some companies in order to get those vehicles made. So Goodyear Tire and Rubber, part of the lunar moon base.
Real quick here, Nokia, ticker NOK. This is actually trading up 5.5% here. Really good volume today, and it's approaching the $15 area that was a previous support that is now resistance. We actually tested that. This was back. We double tested that back on Monday. It actually looks like we're approaching 15 here. So ticker NOK, possible trade if it breaks out. Also possible resistance level. I did just get a note from the power company that they expect services to be restored today by 12:30. So I guess I got that going for me.
All right, folks, are you able to pick up SpaceX shares today? Because it is now past 10. Anybody able to get it? I know some people are getting assigned already, but it doesn't look like it's open yet.
Nope. I don't see it open for trade, but a lot of people were reporting getting their shares filled or added to their account. I would imagine that whole process needs to happen before they even open it. So until that's done, I think we're probably still in wait mode.
Real quick before I go over to CUPR, which did go over 8. Looks like Nokia has a little bit of an issue here with the 20-day SMA, that red line right there, or the squiggly red line. We've come up to that moving average. We need to get back over it, because if we don't, then I think we have a little bit of a bearish pattern forming here on the daily chart. So need to clear this 15 and hold above it today. All right, let's look at CUPR. This thing's having a fantastic morning. Congratulations to everybody that's trading it. This is not a good sign up here, though. This could spell reversal. Let's see what we get out of this candle here. We might actually get the downside move from this candle here. So we'll just wait and see what happens. But this is usually an indication that this is not the buyers are not be able to overtake the sellers. So we could see some selling happen here as early as this candle. We'll see if we end up getting that. This thing's kind of overbought, but fantastic move up over $8. Let's look at a larger. Sorry, let's do this. Oops.
And really quick, from Peter's suggestion about tracking SpaceX on Hyperliquid, I'm looking at it right now. It's 176. But I don't know what this is going to mean when SpaceX opens.
Okay. Cooper still pushing higher, trying to get through 8 again. We'll see. Just be careful. What is that?
Nothing. I'm just going to see if I can. Let me see if I can share this. Again, sorry, I'm on my laptop, but I have to be. So here we go. So Peter, you were asking earlier why we weren't looking at this on Hyperliquid. Is this what you were referring to? SpaceX to USD here? This shows 175. And this actually shows it's kind of trading sideways here. So it actually just kind of shows a sideways movement here. Lots of birds over there, dude. This balcony is in between multiple trees. I get the most beautiful bird songs all day long here. There's a golf course across the street. So Jay, your guess was 177.77. Boy, I hope that opens up on that exactly. That'd be something else.
All right, so we'll just wait to see what ends up happening here with CUPR. This did push a little bit higher, but still hasn't come back over 8. It'd be great if it could get up to 8 and get, if anybody was trapped in this at 8, they could get out. You might almost get it. But anyway, just wait for that one to happen. Let's see what else we got here. GMM doesn't look like that's really done anything but go down. EDHL is trying to turn around here. Let's see if it can recapture that 200 EMA. I need to turn these other ones off. Recapture that 200 EMA, because that has been support for a good portion of the morning, and then losing it turns it into resistance. Not able to recapture it yet, but if we do get some closes over this, and it's got to be more than one, in my opinion, we do get some closes over this, then the next target is going to be to get over the 65 EMA that has been providing resistance this morning.
Looking around here, really don't see anything else good for a setup here. SPCE, by the way, Virgin Galactic, this is actually down 22.86%. That pulled bigly.
And that's SPCE. Ooh,
yeah, 177 still for SpaceX on Hyperliquid.
Yeah, this one, I don't think this one had any real business moving yesterday. What do? They said it's tourism, right? I think if anything, it was just going on with the theme and a squeeze. So no, not surprised that this is coming back in.
Rocket Lab also down 6% here. We actually talked about Velo being down also today. So I'm wondering, do we see another move down, or do we see a bounce here when SpaceX opens? Like, it definitely seems like they're selling some of these right ahead of the open. I almost wonder what we're going to see next year.
I don't know that we'll see a recovery in the space names. I think I just would want to wait and see what. I think there's going to be a lot of focus on SpaceX, so I think I'd wait to see what.
Me too.
Get out of that.
Yeah, me too. And I think that's why you're seeing the selling here, 13.
Yeah, Rocket Lab at 80 would be nice. It might be a lot more next year. But a lot of that upside really does hinge on their neutron rocket being successful. All right, that's Virgin Galactic there. Massive drop this morning, which I guess I'm not surprised. It doesn't have any income, I don't think. Yeah, very little.
Resolve AI went a little bit higher. They're still shy of 3.
Loses tons of money, but it's still got a 637 million market cap with no revenue. So you figure that one out. All right, let's see. We getting a move back in at CUPR because I was concerned about that. So still not able to get back up there.
Boy, SanDisk got just shy of 2,000, 1996.77, and pulled back a little bit. I'm actually seeing puts get bought into the pullback here on SanDisk, SNDK.
This is not moving very much. Let's look at Micron.
Real quick, Jack, SpaceX is not open yet. I have the Hyperliquid page open here. This is telling us that the price is 176. But 13, I'm going to go back to your screen here.
Okay, so Micron did tap 1,000. We were talking about how it could. Congrats if you traded that. We were looking at this, when it was under 980. So nice little $20 capture there. Looks like we're getting some support or bottoming from BSME. Let's see if this actually is able to turn around and get back above some of these smaller EMAs. It's kind of slow moving. We need to see some better volume expansion if we're going to get through this. Let's see, what else do we have here?
Let me call this out here real quick. Jay Rice saying the space name. I read Ben's comments on story trading. What were they? You said he called it perfect. Looks like they're all selling off ahead of the open there. Several space names were added to the Nasdaq 100. What do you got, 13?
I thought I was supposed to be looking at something. Poet ripping. Let's look at Poet.
There were call buying on that earlier.
Is there news? Nope. Canadian company.
This is the one that was a pretty good short from that recent run up to 25-ish in the after hours.
Oh, did it go 25 in the after hours? So this is interesting that we're getting 65 EMA support on the daily. I would say let's see if it can get back above $13. That seems to be about about where the resistance is, not considering these EMAs.
Still don't see anything really good off the scanner here. Rocket Lab still hasn't shown any propensity to bounce, although it does look like it's kind of holding that low level. More poet calls.
Still have some support down at around 100, which it's been getting.
Jay, Ben said don't hold those space stocks today. Yeah, so far it doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like that was the right move.
No, we've been talking about it for a while that we were going to get a halo effect into the IPO. CUPR. Let's go ahead.
Go ahead. You're talking about stocks.
Yeah, CUPR finally coming back in here. You know what? Let me just pull this up so you can see. But the whole, whole trade was we were going to see this rise, but then who knows what's going to happen when we get the IPO. Probably don't want to hold these. I had a great time with Bello yesterday. I still have a tiny bit, but not nearly as much as I did before.
Thinking about it, says Ryan, you can use that hotspot on your main setup. How do you suppose I get power, bud?
Pedal.
Can you imagine hooking up a bike to my computer to generate power from pedaling? I would be in the best shape ever. My lower body would look like Atlas. I mean, that would just be incredible if I could do that. I don't think I have the energy to do that, though.
I'd start calling you Leg Day.
Leg Day. Toasty cinnamon buns. That might be one of the best handles that I've ever seen, especially for a morning show here. That sounds delicious. What website is this? 13 is sharing Benzinga Pro, which is what we use for scanning, newswire, charts, unusual option scans, audio squawk, the whole 9 yards. Link should be in the description if you want to try it out.
We're getting asked if anybody is trading this. This is Hyperliquid Strategies. We talked about this in our happy hour before. I'm not trading this. I don't know enough about it, but I do understand that this is, this is hype, the hype token, right? The accumulating hype tokens, which is supposed to be some kind of capital efficient token. I don't know enough about it, so I'm not going to speak too much on it, but it's apparently the hype is real. We'll just leave it at that.
SpaceX price now above 178 on Hyperliquid. SpaceX still not open.
So waiting for SNDK to try to get 2,000. What else are we wanting to look at here? NOKE. Oops. We get
someone's knocking at my door, 13. I'm going to be right back. Just 1 second.
Sounds good. So still finding some resistance at that $15 area. I think that's one of the things we were talking about because we were looking at that as being a resistance area. Not getting the rest of my price action here today, but $15 still a resistance. If we get a start, closing above that on a smaller time frame, then that becomes support. We get a daily close above it for more than a few days. That also becomes support. So something to watch for here with Nokia. $15 a big level. It's a company that collects or accumulates the hype token. Okay, let's go back to this. Velo could be one of the wildest movers. It was 32 last night. Yeah, I mean, and Velo's got a lot going for it. And basically, the company's only on the market now because of SpaceX. If you want to go through some interesting history of Velo, that's one to check out. Strategic partnerships with SpaceX and Anduril. Very, very important company, I think, for the future of aerospace.
Bam, I got good news.
Power's on?
The power just kicked back. So we're on. So 13, my computer is booting up right now. I'm going to shut the laptop down. I'm going to move back there. I'm going to rejoin you. I got 14 minutes till Anne-Marie. Hold the fort down, buddy. Power's back on. Good news. SpaceX still closed. Let's go.
All right. Well, hurry it back so you can take part. Okay. Well, we're waiting for him to get back. Here is Bloom Energy. This coming up to some of the smaller daily EMAs. Let's see what this does on the 5-minute. Nice price action out of the gate here this morning. We had a significant rise into a little bit of a bull flag. That took us higher as these resolving do. Now we're kind of getting a little exhausted up here towards these past highs that we were experiencing earlier this week. This is Monday's high. This is Tuesday's high. So looks to me like 270 could be a spot. And I also might want to put 267.50 on there as well. In that area, I would think that we're going to see some resistance. And it wouldn't surprise me either because the RSI on this is kind of high, getting a little overbought here. So if there is a little bit more upside to be had in this current uptrend that we're in on the 5-minute, I don't think there's a whole lot left. We should see a little bit of a corrective move before we go higher, if there is higher prints to be had. All right, ASML, the most important lithography machines in the world. This has a overnight gap it's trading up into. If you get a move over, what is this, 1875, looks like you're starting to fill a gap that takes you up to around 1916, 1917. So that would be the thing to watch for here on ASML. All right, we're moving around. What was the, aside from all the meme stuff, what are your thoughts about Virgin Galactic upside? Well, you know, so my understanding with Virgin Galactic is that they're basically a space tourism company. And I don't know when, and I don't pay attention to that company enough. So I don't know when their next, tour is going to be. The company is losing a ton of money every quarter. It doesn't have any revenue. I don't think that's a very attractive prospect for me. I don't want to just buy and hold a company that, isn't really doing anything except lose money. So that's just kind of my thought on it. It might be good one day, but we just need to start seeing, more tourists, I guess. I don't know what else to talk about with that company because I just haven't been paying attention to it since I think their last tour flight, which happened like 3 or 4 years ago. AXTI is a rocket. Let's take a look at that one. Hey, look at this.
Looks like I'm back here. Can you hear me? Test microphone check. 1, 2. Here we go.
We can hear you. It's not with the usual microphone.
Yep.
We can't hear you.
Yep. Hang on.
You're invisible now.
Hang on. Just give me a sec. I'm putting everything back together here, boys.
Here's what the AXTI chart looks on the daily. So did have a nice bounce. I wonder if there's another moving average. Okay, so today we've recaptured the 50-day SMA. I think that's a pretty significant move there. So if we start holding above that 50-day SMA, I think that bodes well for some continued upside. 120 does look like the next resistance area above, I'd say 100. So we climb above 100 and hold above that. Keep an eye on 120 because that should be next. All right. Ed Edwards would like you to take a look at Ruby.
Daddy's back, fam. Look, you gotta have fun with this, right? Gotta make a joke about it. I'm just glad the power's back. Cat is pissed though.
So since we had Masters of the Universe come out, I think the past week, you gotta say now that the power's back. Come on, you gotta say it. You gotta say the thing.
I don't know.
You gotta say the line. You know the He-Man line. You gotta say it.
Don't watch He-Man, bro.
You got chat. Help him out.
Powers that be or something like that. What is it?
Help him out, chat.
If you tell me what it is, I'll say it. I have the power.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, he has the power. By the power of Grayskull.
I have it back. All right, folks, do me a favor. Smash up the like for my main man 13 and producer holding the fort down. Smash up the like in sympathy for me because my power company ComEd sucks. Just smash up the like. We appreciate it. We are back. Let's go, guys. SpaceX not open, by the way, so I didn't miss anything.
Watching VSME right now, that's coming off the bottom of 170, recapturing the 65 EMA. This has been a resistance area. We were just talking about it. This is the kind of movement we want to see. This area right here, this consolidation, that was resistance earlier, a couple of occasions. We blasted through it at one point, came right back in. I still think this $2 area is going to be a little bit of a tough area for the upward price action. It's still struggling to get above the 65 EMA, but if we do get above it, this is still the area of concern. And if we get above that, you have VWAP right there too.
Also, I'm just noticing this now. SPY with a great bounce here. Of course, my power and computer shut off. I got a ton of signals on the way up here. Great bounce there on SPY if you guys traded that.
Can you pull up RUBI?
Yeah, Ruby,
yeah.
Rod. All right, here's Ruby. It's a penny stock. Why are you guys asking about penny stocks, guys?
Well, he wants to look at it because it's taken off and it's looking for $1. Now, if it look, it was trading over $1 just a moment ago, and I think might be the reason why he wants to bring it up, because it won't be that one of those penny junkers anymore. It'll be a dollar junker.
By the way, $1 is where this thing ran into resistance the last few times that it tried to go higher here.
Yep.
SpaceX fails to launch. That's not bad. Perceived Shift says, I can make SpaceX go live. I'll just hop in the shower. When I come back out here, everyone will be having fun without me. I know the feeling.
I'm going to take a look at, I can stop that, right? Okay. I'm going to look at Tesla because we were asked about that. So this trying to get some support down at the 395 area. Look at this daily chart. Okay, so I love these trend lines because they really do work well. I have a trend line I started from the low of April 9th, and I drew it through the low of April 30th and kept it going. This has been the support trend line that once it is snapped, we'll start trading underneath it. And so far that's been the case. The same thing with the SPY. I drew a very similar trend line. We've been trading underneath it ever since. So that's why I love these. These are my downside support trend lines. When we lose this, that's usually confirmation of lower prints. Now it looks like we're recovering, but if we cannot get back above, I'm on a daily chart, so let me pull up. We cannot get back above the 200-day SMA. I think we could see 360.
Real quick here. There was a comment here. I lost it though. Have you considered moving closer to 13? Yes, I would love to move to Texas. I have considered that. I haven't told him yet, so I'm breaking the news to him right now.
Okay. I mean, if you're okay with weather that's probably a lot more humid than you're used to, then this is a great place.
Do you have air conditioning down there?
We do.
We're going to be fine then. You've got golf courses too? We good, fam.
Oh, we got all kinds of stuff. It's fun. It's so much fun out here.
I would love to move out of Illinois to Texas. Yes.
We have power here in Texas. OTLK is getting a mention here. Thanks, Harcourt. Giving a little information here. Just broke out of the $1 OTLK, waiting for FDA approval. So it sounds like this is a biotech. Let's take a look.
And guys, I'll pull up now that I'm back on my main terminal. I'll pull up that Hyperliquid page and I'll monitor the SpaceX price prior to it opening. But I'm telling you, I don't really think it's going to matter much once it opens.
So interesting. Wow, really interesting stuff here. You mentioned the FDA approval, but this has an insider or a couple insiders that are buying this big time. There's one insider, GMS Ventures and Investments, picked up almost 40 million of this at 13 cents earlier this month. And then another director, Adaden, picked up 29,000 of these at 83 cents. So there's some pretty significant insider buying here happening. And now they're getting price target raises to $10, which is very interesting.
Folks, by the way, here we go. SpaceX, this is what I would expect. Watching the price on Hyperliquid here, it is just range bound. Nothing is going to happen here till this opens. So I'd be happy to report what I see here. I can flip to it as needed, but really, we're just waiting for this puppy to open. Matthew says, I would move out of Illinois almost anywhere. This state sucks. Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does.
Jay Rice with the classic, hey, you saw a movie. But it's a great movie. Probably I think that whole scene is probably one of the better parts of the entire movie. Just loved Arthur Hermey. He's great.
He is great. By the way, I just spoke with Anne Marie. She is going to be here today. So 13, just hang out till she gets settled here and you'll be all set to go.
Okay.
I'm hoping that you stick around in case SpaceX opens so we can interact with the community there, sure. But you got a schedule, I understand.
And Webcoin, the stock that I was talking about was OTLK. That was something we were being asked to look at. It was over $1 and waiting FDA approval, but I was also pointing out that it had some insider buying as well.
All right, real quick, Blackjack says, when can we buy calls? So this is actually a good question. SpaceX options start trading on Monday. So you will not be able to buy calls or puts today, but on Monday, that should be back.
Oliver, probably because they ran yesterday. That's one. Number two is everybody's getting ready, and it's not just the space names that are selling. It's a lot of stuff that's selling. People are freeing up capital to get ready for the SpaceX IPO. So it's kind of a broad sell that we're seeing here. I mean, the Mag 7 we're getting it on the chin as well. But we did have a move down in some of the big names. One of them, Velo. That went down significantly off the almost $33 high it printed in the after hours. But now it's starting to turn around. This is still a very good company. It's, I think wait for later on in the day, this might end up coming right back up to 30. We've seen a lot of these get hammered in the morning and then just turn around and trade better. Might even happen today. But yeah, lots of folks are lightening positions, getting ready for the SpaceX IPO.
Yeah, and you know what, 13, we actually talked about that in the lead up. We talked about tech stocks, especially winners being sold. We talked about Bitcoin and winning cryptos getting sold. And we also talked about the potential buy the rumors, sell the news, right? Like the event is happening now. So not entirely surprised to see people selling more. The other thing here is like, let's say that you put in an allotment for 200 shares of SpaceX and you got 15. Well, when this opens, you might think, well, I might want to free up some more cash here. I might buy some more. I might even buy more than 200 once it hits the open market. Who knows? And so some of those space winners, and particularly something like Velo, which went from 15 to 35 in 3 days. Like, I'm sure people are taking gains on that, and I would expect that to continue here. Let's see how all of these trade when the stock opens. And 13, can I throw something out here?
Sure.
We are going to have Anne Marie Baiynd on here in a sec. How's your schedule look? Would you like to stay it's a SpaceX party? We got 1,300 plus people in here. If you want, you're welcome to.
Around.
Okay, awesome. I'm sure Anne Marie would like that too. She's clapping. Let's just do this.
I'll be quiet because I want to let her do her thing.
No. You just had a thought and I ran you over. We've got to hear that thought finish, then we'll bring her on.
That was my thought. I'll just be quiet.
For heaven's sakes. For heaven's sakes. All right, let's welcome on Anne Marie Baiynd. Anne Marie, how you doing here today?
I'm in a party dress, ready for SpaceX.
In a party dress. Let's go. Anne Marie, we were all ready for SpaceX today. We were getting totally prepared for it. And wouldn't you know it, my power goes out. But we're back. We're
saw
back.
that.
We're going to have some fun. You want to share your screen?
Oh, yeah, sure.
And 13, I appreciate you sticking around here.
Yes.
I definitely want your second set of eyes, but also we might be able to convince Anne Marie to look at something cool here.
Oh, I want to hear what she's got to say first.
Absolutely. And I love getting a chance to be on with 13. It's always fun. Just such a bright mind,
Oh, thank
and
you.
it's exciting to spend some time with you. So
Glad to be here
super
with you.
interested. Yeah, it's going to be fun. We had some news that on the 22nd, a bunch of things are going to move into the Nasdaq 100, and one of those is CoreWeave. And so yesterday, CoreWeave came off of our first target from that image that I sent you, Ryan.
And that I shared yesterday, same image. Yep.
Yes. And so what we saw is a really big bounce off of 90. And now this thing's up between the low of yesterday and today. It's up almost 10%. So if you were paying attention to that level that I had on the screen and it triggered, you want to look for a look below that area, like in the pre-market, on intraday formation. You look for that low edge and then you watch it recover, and then you can take the trade to the north. And so if you happen to go long because you had a good feeling about this area right up here near 100, 102, they're going to run into a ton of supply. And so that looks like a region that you might want to take some gains, or at least take partial gains and then, raise your stop to break even. So you've got yourself a good trade there. It should fade, but bounce again. This chart does look like it's got some bounce, even though a lot of people really hate it because they think it's sketch. It seems to be holding fairly well.
Yeah, and that 83 level we talked about yesterday seems to be key. Look, are you looking to play this for a move back down?
I want to see how it looks above this midline here, that this is a midline level that I'm watching, a 50% retracement off of this shaded box that I'm seeing. So I'd like to see it look above and then come back below, and then I will take it short back into the 95s.
Okay. This is the best comment of the day so far. Everyone's asking, why can't I buy SpaceX? When does it open? And Jay Copeland says, because Nancy Pelosi bought it all. That's why you can't buy it. That's the funniest thing I've read today. That's the funniest thing I've read today, without a doubt.
Yeah. So, I'm up for looking at anything. We've got a pretty much bifurcated market, as it were. We've got energy lifting, we've got healthcare sort of split, we've got consumer discretionary sort of split. Energy's done. I think you said Bloom Energy was lifting again. So energy is about halfway in the spaces. Some of them doing well, some of them doing not so well. So there's a lot to look at. What do you want to look at?
One of the requests that we had earlier was Meta.
Excellent.
Maybe we can take a look at Meta here.
Yeah, I am short Meta and have been short Meta for a bit. So I know that 13 and I are on the same wavelength here. I would like to see it come down to 520. I think that's where it's headed. But at this particular space, it's trying to hold the wiki action that it had yesterday. My thought is that all the bounces are shorts in this particular formation. And if you're thinking about, all right, what do I want to do if I'm trading something intraday? Here's an interesting formation. So I built this, and what it does is measure the opening range and the closing ranges, and it measures those for how prices are doing. And today, Meta is trying to recover the 30-minute candle close from yesterday, right? So see how much volume that is relative to the others. It's almost 4x of a standard 30-minute bar. And so they're trying to get up into this area. I don't really think they're going to do it, but it's not an ideal place to take a short because there's so much overlap. So it might be a great idea to wait for seeing if it can bounce into maybe 570 and then consider a shorting action. Or if you want to give it a little bit of time, nothing quite like a short call spread or even an iron condor that comes down into the ledge. And you can see that if we do Meta and we say, all right, let's take a peek at what price action might look like. Man, this market open is so volatile.
Yeah, it is.
The SPY and the ES and the NQ have just been all over the place. All over the place. So I would give it July. It's got lots of premium, and I've got some sort of hog taking away my, what do we got here?
Real quickly,
yeah,
while you're looking into that, we were actually pretty strong in the pre-market. We were actually at the top end of the VWAP standard deviation. Right before the open, we came back into VWAP. After the open, we sold off to one standard deviation lower. And now guess what? We're right back at VWAP. So to your point about a volatile open here, we were in both directions already here today. To me, we're trading sideways now, very clearly based on what the audience is saying, based on what we're seeing here in the charts for both individual names and indices. It is very, very clear that everybody is waiting for this stupid thing to open.
Yeah.
And I say that endearingly. I don't actually think it's a stupid company.
All right, so moving back to what we might be able to do into July. What's your bottom ledge? Where do you think Meta's going, 13?
Where you just said 520, I have this is a target that I've been having my eye on for some time now. I put this on there. It must have been even before we tested that spot back in March. Because that was kind of the a point of control previously in 2024. So having that out there and seeing that we went down there and tested it almost exactly, I think that we are going to end up coming down to that 520 again. I'm still on the fence about whether or not we're going to see support from that. I could see it, maybe dead cat bounce or briefly finding support before heading lower. But I think that's where the price is headed, is 520.
Okay, so I'm of the mind that that's about the space that I am seeing as well. If we did an iron condor that was just 5 wide, our minimum that we want to collect is always at least 20% of that range. And we've got well over 20% of the range, so it'd give us a credit. If you said, hey, I actually think this thing is going to really continue to fade, then the goal would be, see how nicely it's rejecting this area right here at 570, 568. So you could look at that and say, let's take a peek and see if we can give that a couple of weeks to fade down into the area. You easily could go to 14 weeks would be the 26th. And you could do a 550, 540, 520. Wow, that's giving you a credit. So if you could get in here for a penny, right now it shows a credit. I use Tasty Trade all the time to fill these spreads, and they never give me a good credit. So I would maybe get it for a penny. It's 2 weeks of motion. We talked about how the seasonality had sort of shifted over.
Yeah.
And the first area at the midpoint of May to the end of May, which is normally weak for Nasdaq instruments, was very strong. And then all of a sudden we started to sell. I think that seasonality shift got moved over by about 2 weeks. And so I think we still have another week and a half left of relative weakness in the NAS. So, if you wanted to get it for a penny, the getting's good. So you put it in there I think Ryan calls, no, I don't want to do that. I think Ryan calls this a stink bid,
Yep.
right? So you put it in there for a penny and you do it for a penny debit. You know, you could buy what, 10, 20 of these and be in great shape to make monster upside. And so this would be one of Paul Tudor Jones's asymmetric bets, right? He talks about what people are thinking, what the relative motion suggests, and is there a cheap way to put your idea in place so that if you win big, and if you lose, you only get a paper cut.
That's a good way to do it. Emery, I will say it's very difficult to see the numbers on that, but I appreciate you explaining that.
Let's get this back up again. I thought I had moved it higher. Let's go to larger.
SpaceX still not open, by the way.
This hype is like
I know
nothing.
it's crazy. It's like
Emery, it's mind-boggling.
Well, thinking back, can you remember another? And 13, chime in here too. Can you guys think back and remember what the biggest IPO like hype was that you were a part of? For me, it was Twitter and Facebook back in the day.
Yeah, Facebook, I remember. The Facebook one I remember really, really well. What about you, 13?
I'm trying to think because it's going to be sometime between now and the pandemic, and I'm trying to think of some of the biggest ones that I was involved with, and nothing really sticks out, to be honest.
You know, for me, I don't really trade IPOs in the first couple of weeks because the volatility is so monstrous, and I don't think it's going to be any less here. I mean, to be oversubscribed, that's great, but you know, I don't know. I mean, obviously, down the road, amazing, but right this minute, I feel like it's, you know, a lottery ticket, and it's an expensive lottery ticket.
Yeah, I feel the same way, Emery. I'm totally with you on that. Get in there,
I think I can give you a better answer. I don't remember the biggest IPO, but I do remember the biggest SPACs because that was happening quite a bit.
Gosh, right?
And I think that one of the biggest ones that I made a lot of money on, and you know, has been a great trader, was DraftKings. I think DraftKings is probably the biggest one that I remember that I made a good amount of money on. And of course, there were some other you know, names and SPACs that had also had come out during that time as well. Like United Wholesale was great, Archer was great. Those all ended up being really good if you were patient enough.
Yeah.
But those stand out to me as more memorable than any of the IPOs I've dealt with.
I think what's going to be supremely interesting to me as somebody who looks at data, it's going to be, what does it look like? So like for the first minute that something goes, for me, because I'm a futures trader, I will look at the 930 to 931 candle. If I break below it, I'm going to look for a short into support, no matter what the trend happens to be doing. And if I break the high, I'm going to be looking for a long from that same support zone to see if I can have it come down and then break to the north. I want to see if SpaceX has that same kind of Fibonacci retracement events. And that's going to be super interesting if it is.
Real quick here, SPY, big pull in the Nasdaq as well. SPY actually coughed up the VWAP, and the S&P futures trading lower here from its VWAP. So looks like a nice little pull there.
Real quick to wrap up Meta, because you know, I like looking at longer term charts, and the monthly on Meta does not look good to me. It looks like this could significantly come in over, you know, the next year.
Yeah, agreed. I think their spend is outlandish, and he wants to win. And you know, I'm not going to bet against Zuckerberg, but I am going to be patient in terms of what's going on. And for me, ever since it lost 700, I've been trying to short every single bounce.
I think the whole Manus thing
Those
is
work.
probably going to be a big issue too, because I think that's been resolved. And if they can't unwind that already done deal, then there could be some serious implications for Meta and its future with Chinese companies, particularly on the advertising side, of which this company relies heavily on their software for.
Okay, so I have no idea what that storyboard is. Could you give me a 30,000 foot level on that?
Yeah, so a lot of their revenue comes from advertising, and they use a Chinese set of software that helps them with their advertising. Now, Manus was I think it's an AI company that they were already had this deal done. They're acquiring it. It's a Chinese company, but then the Chinese government stepped in and said, no, we don't want to part with that important tech company. They're really clamping down on holding on to all their tech and their talent. I'm sure you're well aware of that.
Right.
So they gave Meta a time frame in order to unwind that already done deal, and they've already had people from Manus move into their Singapore offices, Meta Singapore offices, and try to already integrate. So now they have to unwind all that, and there's a risk that they may not be able to do it in the time frame. And even if they are, they could lose some secretive tech as a result of that unwind. So a lot of things going against Meta, and if they can't get this unwound, then they may lose access to that Chinese software that they're using for advertising.
So I'm sure they're trying to find some kind of replacement on the on the down low in terms of saying, what are we going to put in that space? Is there another company that's got a footprint that we could look at that might be a replacement, or have you thought about that?
Well, I don't think it's so much that they have to look for another company to acquire as much as there are some serious challenges and consequences to this unwind.
Got it. Okay. All right. Good, fair enough.
Wasn't OpenAI's operator a competitor of Manus?
I don't know, but I can find that out.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Browser automation and task execution. That might be. I might be off on that one, but that's Anne Marie, I hadn't had that thought initially. That's a good one. Where could they go?
Yes,
instead.
OpenAI operator and Manus directly competed as the most prominent autonomous AI agents.
Interesting.
Very important that Manus was acquired by Meta. This deal meant a lot, and now they have to undo an already done deal.
Okay. All right. Well, here we go. Hey, I found the conversation this morning. I was a quiet listener. I felt like I was, lurking in the charts this morning because I was listening but not talking too much. And I heard the commentary about Adobe and its fate. And I'm fairly bearish on Adobe, but like that person who said, "Hey, I'm a professional photographer. I can't do without the product." Certainly at a large scale, that's going to be a niche that is probably never going to give up that portion, but the drift away of everyone else who goes, "I don't really need Adobe to do that. I can use whatever." For instance, for me, I'm trying to think of ways to clip our segments together and make some shorts. And I'm looking at all this clipping software, and everything else has got another subscription. You will own nothing and like it. Thank you, Klaus Schwab. But I simply went to Gemini and said, build me a clipping agent and tell me exactly what to say every time I need one, and do it for me. And literally in 40 seconds, it built me a clipping agent. And so a lot of the people who use Adobe on an ancillary measure are probably going to continue to drift away from the platform. It's just how much strength is it going to hold? And really, this number at 200 is so important. If it loses it, it could go to 100. So if you're, go ahead.
I was going to say, I was thinking 150, 100. That's even crazier. But you're right. There is a lot of air under that if it breaks that 200.
You are not kidding. I mean, if we look at the monthly formations, it spent look at almost an entire year at the 100 mark, actually more than a year at the 100 mark, and just really never came back in a meaningful manner. I can see your 150 right there, but if you're looking for something that you can hold over a long haul and make a longer term bet, and you're thinking to yourself, I think Adobe goes to 100 and I'm give them, let's say you do a leap. Let's say you give them a year. Let's see how far. Yeah. So let's say you give them a year and you go to June and it goes to, look, it doesn't even have that sitting there, right? It does not even have that sitting there, the 115 area. But you could just as easily say, because it's got so much pressure sitting there and you've got a pretty good spread, you could say, I'm going to sell the 270, 280 spread and sell the bottom of this spread, which would be, that's ugly. You could try 140 to 130. It gives you half the size of the spread. Now, you've got $1,000 wrapped up in risk that maybe you get a year back, but it's, 50% return against, whoa, did you just see that spike? Wow.
Oh, yeah. Let's see if
All
that
right.
was news related.
Let's see.
Don't see anything yet.
No. And really, as long as we stay underneath 74.20, that's going to be sort of the watermark for the traders getting up over the top. It's still very toppy up there. There's a lot of supply sitting up at 74.20, 74.25. So sorry, just had to see it and wanted to see what it was. So yeah, if you're looking for that kind of outsized bet, nothing wrong with looking way into the future and saying, hey, that's going to be a fair bet. A lot of us with options, we like making 200, 300, 400%, whatever. But in the real world of investment, it takes a lot of time to make a 50% return and keep it. And so that's the and keep it part that we all have to worry about. But that seems really interesting to me. Very, very interesting.
Here's the news on the big pop that we're seeing. S&P futures at the highs here. That pop is still going. Iranian foreign minister says the Islamabad Memorandum of Understanding has never been closer. That is the Iranian foreign minister.
Very interesting.
Interesting.
Aragachi, Islamabad Memorandum of Understanding has never been closer. Market is responding to this. We are at day highs here. This is where we were rejected before on the SPY, by the way. Same area.
By the rumor. Could be by the rumor.
That's right.
And real quick on Adobe, one of the things that I've watched for, and we got as a result of these earnings, on that monthly chart, we have that 200-month SMA that's never been closed beneath, and we could be facing that this month unless the price pulls itself back up over 236. This has been something I've been watching for. There's a trend line that we also broke in the process. This is down at getting to be at an oversold price. So I think this is really where we need to see this turn around. And if we cannot recapture that moving average by the end of this month, we could be seeing a significantly lower price.
Yeah, for sure. Totally agree. As a matter of fact, I'm going to put an alert there so that if we do recover, then we will, let's see how many times we want this to continue to trigger. Regular alert. Okay.
CoreWeave back at day highs, by the way, 103. I know we opened the segment with CoreWeave.
Brian, that's funny because it's kind of true. The other side comes out. We never said that.
Oh, this is interesting.
Kirk says SpaceX is going public at 4 p.m. today.
That's funny.
I love the sense of humor from our group here. You guys have been awesome. Smash up the like for Anne-Marie 13 and of course the group. Oh, that's
Oh my
good.
gosh, 4 minutes. Wow.
4 minutes.
So we, Bitcoin having a nice rise.
That's at the highs too. Yep.
Yeah, and it's interesting because this month, I always make sure I have a monthly chart for Bitcoin. We came down to the 50-day SMA, and we've bounced right off it. So this has been a moving average that I've been long waiting for the price to interact with. We got that. It looks like, I don't know if we got it today, but we got it. It looks like we got it earlier this month. So fantastic. We're moving up off of it. I don't know that we're necessarily going to recover from here in Bitcoin, but 69,000 is the resistance area that I'm watching for.
All right, good stuff. SpaceX, still no indication here. Market is actually at the highs ahead of this. All we needed was more headlines about Iran to bring the market to highs before they actually let this thing trade. Tess wants to know wagers on actual time. My call from this morning was sometime after lunch. I know it's not that specific, but sometime after lunch is what I said.
What does Kalshi say?
Actually, that's
Going to be an interesting one. Yeah, absolutely.
I can see if Kelsey's got anything on that real quick before we go over to Sandra here.
Now, folks, this is gambling that we're showing you.
Well, I don't know that I'm going to show it. I'll read it. I don't know how I'm going to show it.
Oh, that's hilarious.
SpaceX. Let's see what they have here for SpaceX. When will it announce? How rich will Elon Musk get? What sector? Nothing about the time here, folks.
Great call on rotation into quantum. I don't know that it's necessarily a complete rotation, but there is a lot of attention being paid to it shortly after the open. Quantum names I'm looking at, Ionic and Inflection, higher now.
S&P still at the highs here, and we're actually getting a bounce in some of these tech names as well. So that's good to see.
Yeah.
Bitcoin at the highs too. Okay, Anne-Marie and 13. We're going to move over here to Sandy. First of all, I appreciate both of you for hanging out on the SpaceX party day. I really want to thank all of our viewers for hanging out here today too. Awesome of you. Please smash up the like. If this was your first time checking out the stream today, we have fun even when there isn't mega IPOs going on, so be sure to stop by and check us out here. But 13, Anne-Marie, any closing words for our group?
Go ahead, Anne-Marie.
Watch your risk.
Really good.
Have fun with the IPO. Be very careful. Maybe wait it out. I intend to. I do want to own it, but not going to just jump right into it. But have a good weekend, everybody. We'll see you on Monday.
Yep, we will recap whatever happened with SpaceX on Monday. 13, Anne-Marie, thank you both. Have a great weekend, and we will check in with you next week. That is 13, Anne-Marie. All right, it has been fun here today. You want to know how to do some automated trading? You're in the right spot. We're going to bring on Sandra here. Let's see how she's doing. Oh, I got to click the right thing. Sandra, how are you doing?
Good. How are you doing, Ryan? Thank you so much for that intro on the automation. Yeah.
No problem. Look, Sandra, I woke up really excited today. I'm ready to go. We have a huge crowd here, and then my power goes out.
Well, of course.
Of course, right? Thankfully, it's back on, so we're good to go here. Do you have any thoughts on the SpaceX IPO here today?
Lots of hype, right? I'm in the same boat as 13 is just like wait it out a little bit, wait till, get over the bumps and then see what happens. Plus we're in a crazy market environment right now. So I'd like to see what ends up happening. I'm never the first one in an IPO.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Me too. All right. Trading Made Simple with Sandy starts right now.
Welcome back, traders. This is Sandra with Trading Made Simple. I'm here to show you short-term proven strategies. People think trading is a one-size-fits-all market. It's not. We live trade and train daily. Let's talk trading.
Good morning. Happy Friday. All right, let's look at the markets. Let's take a look at a couple stocks. Maybe we get into some automations. Looking at the S&P 500 right now, and looking pretty good, right? Comparably. I mean, what a crazy week we had. Talk about some outside days where we're just spiking down, then spiking up. This is where, you really want to take your profits quickly. You want to limit your risk. And you know what I say about limiting risk? I love the trade vehicle of debit spreads that could really help you out in this type of environment. Let you hold on a little longer, but I would still take my profits off a lot sooner rather than later until we kind of get that trend back. So as of right now, looking pretty good on some of the mega cap names that took a beating earlier, right, in the week. So kind of doing a little bit of a recovery, but still look, ABGO, we got, Broadcom, Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, Tesla still down, Netflix. So, but looking a lot better as far as some of the other sectors actually getting some money. So there could be some sector rotation. You can see that consumer staples was doing really good this week, as well as energy. Now we have utilities on board, real estate and materials. So typically we haven't seen that in a while. So looking at that, healthcare was really red early on in the week. Looks like it's getting some money now. In financials doing really good this month. Could be the interest rate, possible hike. So that's definitely helping the banks out. Outside of that, let's take a look at a couple of the charts. So Tesla, let's look at Tesla. On a daily, still looking a little weak right here, but it looks like it did catch its support right about here. I would definitely wait till that momentum, right, on a daily starts to rise up past that zero line. Until it does that, it could easily just come up a little bit and then go straight down. You could see where the all-time high was, looking to see if we can get back above or at least touch that last pivot high. Looking at resistance right there around that, 439 level. So we still got a ways to go for Tesla to start recovering. By the way, you can see that, let me see if this is the 20. The blue line is my 20 EMA. Let's see, is the gold a 50? No, the gold is actually the 200. Let's see if I have, I don't know why I don't have my 50 on there. But we have a little cross right here, which is bearish. Let me quickly put on the 50 EMA. Let's put on the exponential. I have a lot of other special EXPs. Where is my exponential moving average? Let me put it on here. You know what I'll do is I will change my 200 to 50. And let's take a look at where the 50 is in comparison here. We'll make that gold. Okay, so now we have, we did a bullish cross here, which was really good. Ended up now coming down, right? So the EMA is headed down towards the 50. So still a little bearish, but you can actually see the tail on this kind of neutralizing, right? It looked like it was on a downhill, and then now you can see it's kind of neutralizing here. So if we can get this little curve up, we can actually see Tesla come and retest that 438.88. I kind of like that 439. This is something that you could possibly leave for 2 weeks and then just forget it, right? You're going to prepare your trade now. You've identified on a daily where that last pivot high is, where it needs to break to even come and test that 453 level again. And it's possible with this IPO coming out today, right? We could really have some movement. So because of that IPO, though, I would definitely get into a debit spread here versus a straight call or a put just for that IV crush. In fact, let's take a look at the trade tab and even take a look at liquidity right now. As far as how wide is the bid and ask, actually, At the money, right? The easiest way. Now, this is a 0 DTE. Let's take a look at 14 days. 14 days, actually not that bad either. I'm surprised. So with that in mind, I'm liking the debit spread action. So let's take a vertical here, and then we're going to go over to a call debit. We're going to hit that buy, and you can see that it pops up for $113 for one contract. If we wanted to get into a long call at the money, right, we're looking at a lot of money here, right? So with that in mind, instead of $1,600, we could get into it and still ride any type of way that happens, breaking through that resistance level, and get into it for $118. I kind of like that. And you can get yourself multiple contracts, right? So let's go ahead and just put this on. I think I'd rather break out of that. And remember, with this IPO coming out and maybe a gap over the weekend, man, this thing could, Monday morning, right? As an example, it could be all the way up here at the 498 range. So with that in mind, I would like to enter this probably when it gets to about I'm going to round up a little bit, 460. So now if we come over to our debit spread and we say, okay, I want to get into the 460, we're going to come right over here to Tesla, Mark. You're going to just leave these as a default, okay? And then go to your trigger, and it's going to be greater than or equal to, and I said 460. And remember, if you're looking at a smaller time frame on your chart, you can definitely switch this to a resistance level that you see that you like. And so I'm using 460. I'm taking 2 weeks out because I don't know how long it'll take to get there, right? So as of right now, that's what I'm doing. Now, because of the volatility and how, headlines change all the time, this could, we could actually, I'm going to save this really quick, and I'm going to just look at one more thing as I think about wartime volatility. I'm going to go over here to the at the money, and you see that it says 118. I'm going to take that 118 price tag, and I'm just going to add 25% to it. And what that does is it gives me a ceiling of protection, because right now, since the war, we've had the market makers really gouge pricing. And it doesn't really matter if your position is actually going in the direction that you analyzed. If you pay too much for your contract, you're not going to make any money. That's just the name of the game. So knowing this, you could just say, hey, look, I don't want to get gouged in my pricing if there's some sort of headline or something that pops up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just give myself a ceiling, and my ceiling is 25%. So I'm going to take 118. I'm going to add on your calculator, you're going to add 25%, just like that. And it gives me 147.5. So I'm going to take the 148, and then that's going to be my limit price. So now when I go back into my order form, did I save that, guys? I guess I didn't. I will go back to my order form and do this again. Sorry about that. Greater than or equal to. And by the way, if you get mixed up on the trigger, you can just scroll up and you'll see mark at security greater or equal to. And then now you're going to come over here and put that 460 trigger price in, is what we call that. And as soon as I tab out of that box, you want to tab out. You don't want to click out. If you click out, unfortunately, this will still say 00, and then your programming's wrong, and it'll just cancel your order. So what you want to do is actually tab out of this box, and you have the 460 right here, greater to or equal to. And now I'm like, hey, instead of just doing buy the ask, which is a real aggressive way of just getting into your contract, knowing that there's a war, the IPO, and all this other stuff, I'm going to say, hey, look, I don't want to pay more than 148. Okay. 148 for this contract. And now you can save it. The other thing that you could do is, I took an at the money right now, but when we actually get to our trigger, it's not going to be the 397,400 is not going to be an at the money, right? So really then I want to take what my strike price is going to be. And my strike price, which will be at the money at the time, is going to be 460. So I want to come down here and take a look at the 460 range. And let's say the 457 right here. So now I'm going to just change it. Now I showed you how to do this. If you were just ready to get into a day trade and you're day trading IPO day, you could go ahead and set maybe a smaller time frame on your chart, find a resistance level, and do exactly what we just did. And then that would be your automation for just a day trade or maybe an over the weekend trade. You could take a Monday expiration, right? So that's what I would do for the IPO. But for this trade where I'm giving it 2 weeks out, I really want to take my trigger level, which is the 460. When it crosses the 460, that's when I'm in it. And so that's going to be the at the money. When you do your pricing like we just did for like a day trade, when I got that $1.48, I'm actually going to use that for this trade. And the reason is because that is going to be the at the money price tag when this gets at the money, because we just looked at what at the money is for a debit spread. So when this actually happens, that's what it's going to be, and that's the best way to price this out. So I'm going to put good till cancel here, and then I'm going to just do my triggers like I did on the other one and say 460. And so now you know how to do this, whether it is a day trade or something that's 2 weeks out, and then you can just pick your own expiration date. So now we have this set for IPO day. Now I'm not going to put in a stop. I'm just not. And the reason is because typically in the morning on vertical spreads, iron condors, anything that has multiple legs, Schwab tightened the screws on their programming from when TDA had it, I can tell you that. And because of that, for whatever reason, the volatility in the morning gets you stopped out. It never hits your take profit, always hits your stop loss. Imagine that. So because of that, we're not going to put that in. The nice thing about debit spreads is you can have diamond hands. You can hold on a little longer. You could just check your trade once a day. Make sure you're not over your risk amount. For me, it's 50%. I'm either taking profits at 50% or I'm getting out of the trade at 50%. Never in the morning volatility though. I'm always waiting at least a 15-minute candle if I'm checking it then, or I'll just let it go until the afternoon and check it and then get out of that position. With this, it's limited risk, limited reward. So you really have an opportunity to get into a ticker that usually is way more expensive than you would want to get into for a straight call or a straight put. And it handles volatility much better on pricing. Doesn't gouge you because you're selling a leg. Okay. So as we take a look at this, you can see what our programming is. I always recommend that you do this so you make sure you have it right. It says I'm buying a vertical. This expiration, I'm taking the 457.5, 460. My max loss on this is 148. By the way, this may end up changing when it gets at the money as well as with volatility. But for right now, you can see that this is just a little less than a 1-to-1. I actually prefer a 1-to-1, but it's somewhat skewed because we're taking an at the money and price is nowhere near it. However, knowing that, and since I do this all the time, I am fine with it. So really looking for Tesla to get out there. If we were if we were looking at a smaller time frame on Tesla, still, 418.50, I would look at 420 today. So if you were wanting to do just a weekend trade and you were taking maybe, I would take next Friday. I wouldn't take Monday or Wednesday. I would take next Friday's expiration. I would do this around the 420 range. If it breaks above it, go long. And then on the flip side of that, right? Because there's two sides to this coin, guys. It could either race up or it could race down. If it continues to go and stay on the lower end here, I would go ahead and use that last pivot low, and you can see we have a vertical trend line here. That's going to be a big confirmation, that 375 level. I would use the 375 level if it breaks below 375 on Tesla, going down, right? Going down. You could see that momentum on a 15-minute is still pretty good here. And even on the 30-minute, it looks good. Momentum looks really nice, actually, on a 30. You could see that we've already had 2 touches on this trend line, right? Could we come up for a 3rd touch, or are we going to break it? If we end up breaking it, right, then we're going to actually end up hitting that lower end of the previous pivot low. You still got a lot of power lines up here, and then you got this little wick up here. So you got a lot of resistance overhang. So that 420 really looks nice to me on any time frame for today. And I would take that as the trade. Hey, let's just do that really quick because I like that one too. So let's take a shorter time frame. We're going to do a vertical. We're going to come up here to our expiration. And let's do the 6 days out on the 18th. So that's Thursday. I believe next Friday is a holiday. So as we take the 13th, what was the price? It was 420. So we're going to come over here and we're going to take it the closest to 420. But as I look, right, I'm looking right now at what's the money, what's at the money right now, because I want to price my resistance. Okay. I want to price my resistance, but I need the at the money pricing. So I'm going to act like I'm going to buy this. It's $1.15. Take 1.15 plus 25% equals 143. I should be writing this down because you know what's going to happen, right? I'm not going to remember. So it's 143. All right. And now I'm going to actually take my strike. So I'm going to get over here to the 420. What's closest here? I have the 420, 422.5. That sounds good. I'm going to go into my gear icon here. And then I am going to start filling this out. Greater than or equal to, just look right down here. And we said 420 for this. So we actually have 2 plays. We have a longer play and we have a shorter play, right? This is what's nice about doing your analysis and then just programming it in, for goodness sakes, right? And then you got it all going on. The good thing too is you don't have to have a bias, right? Since we really don't know what in the world Tesla's going to do, why not be prepared for both, right? So we're actually being prepared for 2 different bullish scenarios, and then we're going to go back and do some bearish scenarios, okay? Let's do it. Let's just focus on Tesla today. So we already did the math for our limit price, right? We don't want to pay more than it's 143.7. We'll say 144 or 145 anyway. Depends on how detail oriented you want to be. So around 144 is my threshold. I don't want to be gouged. Tesla at or above 420. And did you see how I did not click out? I went right over here and just did that. And you see my programming that has 00. This would not be a good order. So what I need to do is actually be in the box and click out. And as soon as I do that, tab out of the box, now my programming is correct. So we got the 420. Remember, on the chart, our resistance level was about 418.5. We're just bumping it up, patting it up just a little bit, just for the wicks. Hate those wicks. So now I'm going to save that. What do those wicks do? Those wicks get you into a trade, and then it makes a U-turn and goes right back down, right? So by padding just a little bit, you're basically saying, I really want some confirmation in this. I want this to power through that 418 and just keep on going. So the debit spreads, you know, they actually profit whether the stock is actually moving slow and bullish, and even if it skyrockets, you're still going to profit from it. So I love that. All right. So now we're going to save this. We got our programming in. We're going to do the same. If I wanted to add, by the way, a take profit, all I have to do is come over here to this advanced order form and hit first triggers a sequel. Did you guys see that? First triggers a sequel. And then I'm going to say add an opposite order. Now, because I've already done my programming on this, my programming is going to be on here. So I just want to make sure that I tab out of there so that I can clear not tab out, delete and then tab out. We'll clear it. And then I want to just clear that as well and save that. Now I can come over here and say, okay, my typical, management style for debit spreads is between 25% and 70%. Okay. So this is a 1 week trade. We do have high volatility. I think I'm just going to go for the 50%. So I'm going to go over here to man this drop down, and I'm going to hit the trigger level. And when I do that, these little buttons, Thinkorswim has a lot of little buttons. I'm going to come over here and I'm just going to start clicking it. And when I do that, then I'm able to I can either use the toggle up and down, which will take me forever, or I can use my back button, put on 50%. You see the plus 50% for your take profit. If you saw a minus there, that's a stop loss. Okay. So be cognizant of that. So now we got good to cancel, good to cancel. This is ready to go. Let's take a look and see if I got my programming right. I'm going to hit confirm one time, just one time, so I can see. And so now we got a vertical for a 1 week next Thursday for a 420, 422.5 call. And if this crosses the 420, I'm into it. And we're going to sell it if it gets to a 50% profit target. It may end up doing more if it gaps, and it will give you the best price for that. So let's say you put a 50%, but on Monday it gaps up and you're at 100%. It'll give you the 100% when it gets you out of the trade. All right. So now we're going to go ahead and send this. Now we have two strategies that we just thought about as we were looking at the chart, all automated. TradingMadeSimple.org, guys. That's where you're going to find automation for not only Thinkorswim, but also for IBKR. Set it, forget it, go enjoy your life. Okay, let's take a look for the bearish trade now. I'm on a 15-minute chart. I'm going to just take a look at an hourly, see where we're at. Hourly is 393, but we've gone lower than that. And so 380 on the 15-minute. How interesting, huh? On an hourly, yeah, we're like right there, sitting on the hourly, right there at support. I think I'm going to take this level instead, this 380. You can see the vertical trend line. We had three touches right here, 3 touches. Will it hold if we break below? I'm going to take that vertical trend line. I really like it. So we have the 375 level, guys, on the lower side. Let's take a vertical now for a put. The at the money put is 120. We're going to add 120 plus 25% equals 150. That's going to be our limit price. So if we go over to the 375, I'll take the 375, 377. I'm going to take the 375, 372. I think I'll take this one right here. I'm going to click the buy, and now I'm going to go into the gear icon. This should, if you do this, just a couple times, you're going to use less than trigger right here. You're going to scroll down and see it's less or equal to on this trigger. And then you're going to put in your price. And what did we say? 375. All right. We're going to tab out of the box. You could see that the programming got in here. We're going to use the 150 for our limit price. Tab out of that box. Put good till cancel here. All right, this looks good. Rocket and rolling. So now we got less than or equal to 375. We got that in. And then you could do the same with your take profit. Let's just go ahead and do it. First trigger is a sequel. We're going to add a opposite order because we need a sell order. I already got my programming in. By the way, you could do this up front if you use your buy custom. So on that, I keep hitting tab. I need to hit delete and then tab. So you see how it clears it out. Then we're going to just delete this and tab, and that'll clear it out. Now we could save the order. We can come over here and say trigger. And then now I can use my percentage, come over here and say 50. And now we got that set in for our put trade. So now we're prepared on a short-term time frame for the IPO for next week. We're going to confirm and send. Let's take a look at our programming for Tesla. Because once SpaceX, those two are aligned, so they're gonna move together. In fact, I haven't even looked up the ticker. Is it even active right now? I don't even know that. So let's see. We got Tesla. 150, great. We got our ceiling in. We got our correct strikes below 375 and get me out with a 50% profit. Boom, got that in there. All right. So that's what you would do on a debit spread. It's same for a single legged contract, whether it be a call or a put. And now let's take a look. What is it? Is it SpaceX? What is that IPO? Does anybody know? Let me see. Is it I wonder what they're going to name this here. Is it, let's take a look really quick. SPCX. All right, let's take a look at this. SPCX. I know there's nothing there right now. I doubt. Right. So you could see that there's nothing here. They'll probably, by the way, won't even put any contracts out for, typically on an IPO, it starts trading and you can't get out of it relatively quickly. They kind of keep you locked in when you first buy the shares for, I think, a couple days, and then you can actually start exiting. Is what I read, but I'm not positive on that. In any event, the option contracts don't come out for several days, if not maybe a week or 10 days. So be on the lookout for that. As you can see, we're on the IPO, we're under it. It's got no option contracts right now. Everything's at zero. So we'll see what ends up happening today. I'm pretty excited to see. But we're going to get a lot of movement in Tesla, one way or another. So let's take a look at this on a 4-hour. On a 4-hour kind of looks bearish, doesn't it? We kind of had that downdraft here. So we really actually need to get above that 20, get above that 50. Boy, that 420 is perfect, actually, even based on the EMAs, guys. We took a look at the chart. Now I'm like re-examining the chart. Still looks good on a 4-hour. I love the levels that we put in. All right, now we have a 1-hour. And so on the 1-hour, it really needs to keep this pivot low here at this level. So where we're at, it needs to get above this 50 EMA, which is at 402.14. If you were looking for a little scalping day trade today, 402.14 is really where you're looking. That dark yellow label, right, is my 50. Anytime price gets above any EMA, typically you'll see a bounce. Okay, one of those popular indicators that people are looking at. So I would take a look at that 402, 403 range. And from there, you could go to 411. So that actually looks pretty good. I like it. All right, so we'll have to see what ends up happening. What else, guys? We didn't really get to take a look at, let's take a look at the Qs right now. Qs are doing good today. Nice little bounce for the Qs as well as SPY. Ooh, looks like we did bounce on a 1-hour chart. We bounced above the 50 EMA, that 717 level. And as soon as we did, boom, 723. I like it. So this actually looks really good. If it can hold this area at 718, if it can hold it, it's going higher. And look where it's going. On a 1-hour, going to the 748 range. Let's take a look at a 15 on a shorter time level. This thing looks nice if you're doing a little scalp, guys. This thing, it's next on a 15-minute chart. This target is at 725. You know what? I'd take my profits and run right now if you're in it. All right, guys. I hope you have a great weekend. We'll find out what happens with SpaceX, and I hope you have a great weekend. See you next week.